Megan Fox.
And Megan Fox has the story.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox writes at PJ Media.
Eat Tucker.
That was your last.
Damn it, man. I cried for 2 days.
Megan, thank you very much for that.
So, I can explain the bed thing.
If you don't show up and vote, up your ass. I don't care if you're in the hospital. Crawl to the stake. Crawl there.
It's like Jesus going into the temple. He's like, I got a whip. Get out! Get out! The lovely and wonderful Megan Fox. Not that one.
Not that one. Not the weird one that drinks blood in his toe thumbs.
Megan Fox.
Megan. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
She's the devil. Megan.
Megan Fox. Megan Fox.
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You've never met a like me. You want to tangle? You want to go? Holy sh!
Too much cussing on this. I guess we didn't bleep it, so we got to turn it off. But it's
You pissed off the wrong woman.
oh my God, I have been assaulted. But Megan Fox runs wild on you, brother.
She's the devil.
Not for publication.
The story.
I'm Megan Fox. Thank you. Cheers.
Hey guys, good afternoon. How are ya? It's me. I'm back, and I'm wearing not leg warmers today, but I got in my one woman quest to bring the 80s back. I am wearing a sweater dress. That's right. I found a sweater dress this last weekend, and I'm rocking it. I'm doing it. I love the sweater dress. I may buy 3 or 4 more of these. I'm telling you what, I love them. I love the sweater dress. I almost bought the red one, but I thought green was appropriate for the season upcoming. I mean, so was the red one, but it was it had like pearls or something on it. And I just knew that when I was looking at it, I was like, am I going to wear that more than once? You ever ask yourself that? Like, am I really going to wear this more than once? All right. So, jelly shoes. Don't get me started on jelly shoes. Those should not come back. Those give you the worst blisters on earth. I do see, though, that some of you in the chat are wearing your leg warmers. Good for you. We're bringing them back. We're bringing back leg warmers. IT Goatee is backstage. Do you want to hang out with me, Brad, or are you busy and doing things from behind? Hello.
It's up to you.
Well, you're welcome to be here. But are you growing your mullet? Because we're bringing the 80s back.
Brad. I have no plans for the mullet.
All right. What about parachute pants?
Best I could do is goldfish heels.
That's the 70s.
Oh, damn it. See,
That's
I get all of this screwed up because I was born in the late 80s.
How about Air Jordans that pump up?
That was a 90s thing, wasn't it?
No, I think that came out in I don't know. Maybe early 90s. It's possible. But you have to contribute to this 80s thing in some way. A neon bracelet. Can we get you to put a rubber neon bracelet on?
I've got my Power Ranger shirt on, but that's...
Oh, there you go. See, he's rocking Power Rangers. Yeah. High top sneakers would do it. Pleated pants. Do you have a pair of pleated pants? I don't really recommend it. No. Brad's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the thing. There are things to go over. There are lots of things to go over. But I'm not really in the mood to go real deep into all of the things that there are to go over. Because for one, let's just talk about Laura Owens and David Gingras for a minute. Let's start there. David Gingras is on a campaign for attention like no other attention whore I've ever seen. He is whoring for attention, and he's doing it in a way where he thinks he's going to get the maximum amount of attention by doing all of his legal threats and everything else. He has threatened Lauren Knighty, our friend of the program, who, went out of her way to bring you guys the Laura Owens trial, Owens v. Eckert. She went to great expense to bring the public the inside information on what was going on in that courtroom. Thanks to Lauren, all of us were able to see the trial. So it really bothers me that this person is going after Lauren simply for not having, actually, I'm not even sure why he's going after her. I really don't.
He gets really mad. Because he conflates the terms JFC and cult so intermingled or so intertwined. So he says, I don't want JFC YouTubers reading things of mine or doing anything and making money off of it. But I think he fails to realize that like half of YouTube is reacting to other people's content. And
yeah, and I mean, look, if he does, I mean, this is unbelievable. So his first foray into YouTube is to issue a directive to all other YouTubers who this whole thing about JFC, like, I don't know who's a JFC YouTuber. I'm not a JFC. I don't think I'm a JFC YouTuber. I YouTube about all kinds of different things. So I cover lots of different cases. I don't know what it means to be a JFC YouTuber. I'm not even sure if there is one. I mean, JFC, to my knowledge, is the Reddit page and the subsequent discords and all of that. And even that, it's not like an organized group. They don't call themselves JFC. This is just something David and his client made up, right?
Basically, if you're not carrying Laura's water, then you're JFC. That's basically what it comes down to.
Right.
But he did come out and say that the cult is uniquely different than JFC because those who don't like Laura, who don't like Gingras, who believe Clayton, there are interested parties who can be opposed to Laura but not a part of the cult. But
yeah, he claims that the cult members are the people who do things like he held up that flyer that he says and Laura says was sent to her gym. Now, we have no evidence that this actually happened. There's no evidence that it was at her. I don't know. I don't know whether somebody sent a flyer saying this woman's a liar, watch out for her, and all this other stuff. What we did find out when we looked at that flyer was that it was kind of suspect because the website was spelled wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The website at the bottom was the wrong website. It wasn't.
Yeah, it says ourjusticeforclayton.com, but that's not how Reddit
that's not how Reddit
subreddits
works.
Are named.
Right. Right. So it's debatable where that even came from. It's debatable where that flyer came from. And he is alleging that anyone who, I guess the studio where they were recording their podcast got a bunch of phone calls from people he calls cult members. And then that place put out a statement that said, we don't want anything to do with this person. We didn't know what her background was. I don't know what I think about that. On one hand, I think, is it necessary to call the podcast studio and have her thrown out of there? Maybe not. On the other hand, I think, did she do the same thing to her victims? She called Clayton's places where he was going to be speaking and got him canceled from his speaking engagements. Remember those emails? Mm-hmm. She called Mike's employers, several of them, to spread nonsense and lies about him that were not true, that could have ended up in his firing and not being hired at certain places. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if he was ever fired because of that specifically, but I know that he was harassed by it. I know that he had to be called into the HR department multiple times in different places. She also, I believe, did the same thing to Greg Gillespie. Oh, and let's not forget, when she called the real estate board on Clayton Echard, claiming that he had done something terrible while she was harassing him, like crazy. Greg Gillespie, I believe she also called his place of business and tried to get him fired. So, did I call the studio? No, it was not something on my list of things to do and all the things I have to get done around here. Do I understand why people did that? Yeah, I do. And do I care? Am I crying tears for Laura because she can't record in that particular podcasting studio? No. Because you know what else? You know what else bothers me about it? As soon as I saw the setup and the lighting and everything else, it's like, oh, this manipulation has got to stop. Putting her in good lighting, making sure she looks her best on camera, and getting a professional videographer to do this. Like, just stop. Stop it already. You've been caught. Everybody knows this was a big hoax, and it's time to come clean. What did you think was their I don't know, motivation, or I don't know if motivation is the right word, intent with that podcast studio?
I don't know if it was an intent specifically. We know that Laura has the ability to do podcasts. She was doing it with her mom. Whether they were renting a studio to specifically do that, it's very odd for an established podcaster to rent a studio out, because that requires a significant amount of money. So, and unless you're getting a large revenue in that you can bill for, you're not going to be able to consistently rent out a studio to upload. Like, you've got to be making, tens, $15,000 in order to be able to say, I can spend $1,000 for 3 hours of studio time to be able to record this podcast. And if you're just doing it for PR sake, that's a lot of money to be burning.
That's a lot. You're right. It's a lot of money to be burning. And also, but then again, she's not someone who doesn't seem to do that. She seems to burn money all the time for whatever reason that she has. Whatever reason is good enough for her to do it, she'll do it. Here's what David had to say about the studio. The studio ended up being a bad experience. Not going to discuss it further for now. But then he goes on his new little YouTube channel and decides to blame it on, I don't know, all of us, like pointing fingers, saying that somehow people who follow this story are, harassing Laura in real life. And I'm not even sure, again, where's the evidence that this happened? Is the evidence that the studio said we received phone calls? Well, we don't know who made the phone calls. We've had enough experience in this case with Laura Owens to at least question whether or not she's capable of making phone calls herself to make it appear that she's being hunted and hounded and harassed. There was the issue of the person on Facebook making the alleged threats that person came forward and said, I never made those. That's not my account. So somebody made an account with a person who didn't own it, and then made those alleged threats towards Laura Owens and her mother. And to this day, we still have no idea who actually did that, except it seems kind of strange that, we never know who's doing these things. And so that's my only point on there. I'm not going to tell other people what to do. I'm not going to scold anybody for if they did do it. I don't care. I think Laura's the one who needs to be on trial here, not people watching this case and interested in this case. So this is where David decided to just go off his gourd. So he puts videos up on YouTube. He puts a couple of them up. I haven't even finished watching all of what he put up yet because I'm starting to lose interest. David, the time you should have maybe considered doing this was months ago.
He already admitted to that. He said that they've done a bad PR strategy in not having a PR strategy for months, but they've had access to Twitter, his blog, allow her to be able to make statements, and they've virtually done nothing. And I think because they're outside of the district court's purview, and that now they're in appeals land, they can say whatever they want because it's not going to get brought back into the family law case.
Yeah, probably. So the problem that I have with it, though, is that the court's made its decision. And I wanted to move on at that point. I wanted to move on, and I did move on to different stories, and I don't want to keep going back to this. It seems like a waste of time and energy to keep going back to this. And at some point, we have to start ignoring this guy. Appeals are for losers. I don't think this appeal is going anywhere. He keeps on making these big statements about how he's not releasing his appeal. Dude, we're going to get it the second it's filed in court. Stop it. Stop your nonsense. It's already filed.
It's just that you have to pay like 50 cents a page in order for it to get printed. And he's like, well, it's not fair if you read all of it now and not be able to read the response. It's like, but that's how the news is.
Yeah, that's how it works. That's how we cover these things. We cover them when they come out. And we will read both sides. We will read Greg Woodnick's response. I didn't understand what he was saying there. He was saying he wants us to read them all at once. First of all, sir, I don't have 12 hours in a day to read your 75-page appeal and then Woodnick's response. And then that's not how that works. Nobody has that time.
It took him 40 minutes to read the 15 pages for his intro brief before going into the hyper legal arguments of everything after his introductory paragraph.
Not as easy as it looks, is it, David? Not as easy as it looks, but by all means, keep doing it. Now here's this thing he put out. Guys, I told people not to steal my video. First of all, this is not true. I emailed him specifically to say, hey, I'm going to cover your stuff. Are you going to falsely copyright strike me for covering your, what you put on YouTube and making commentary on it? Because that if you do file against me, that would be against YouTube's terms of service. It would be false. It would be illegal. Then he writes me back and he says, no, I won't. I'll give you limited permission, whatever. Then in the very next breath, he starts telling everybody else that he's going to strike them. So I guess I'm covered because I have an email that says I have permission from him, although who knows? He'll probably just withdraw that. Who cares? But the fact is, David, I don't find you interesting enough to spend an entire several-hour program watching you talk about your crap. I realized in the first 30 minutes of it, as I was watching it, boy, this is boring as hell. He's bad at this, and I don't want to watch it. And my audience doesn't want to watch it either. So we'll probably, since he has decided that we can cover 5 minutes, I can absolutely cover his last video in less than 5 minutes of him making an ass out of himself in a couple of clips. But here we go. Guys, I told people not to steal my video. For everyone who ignored that, the video has been registered with the U.S. Copyright Office. I don't know why he felt he needed to do that.
That's an expensive move, too, considering your copyright. So you can register copyrights for things. However, you don't necessarily have to file a copyright in order to be able to make claims on it.
Yeah, I know. That's the weird part, is that my content here on YouTube is indisputably mine. There's no one who's going to be able to come forward and go copyright it at the Copyright Office besides me. So why even do that? We all acknowledge you own the copyright to it, David. What we don't acknowledge is that you own the rights completely to the point where no one can use even clips of it to make commentary under fair use. We don't accept that. And also, good luck making it on YouTube if this is the way you're going to behave. YouTube will reject you. The people of YouTube will reject you. This is not a way to go about building a YouTube channel by immediately attacking other creators and saying, don't you dare use my videos. That's not how it works. There's an entire YouTube is based mostly on reaction videos, which are all based on fair use. And, all right. He says, every person who infringed on my work will be sued, every single one. Hope you have good IP counsel in Phoenix because you'll need them. Again, I don't know why he thinks he can drag YouTubers who don't live in Arizona into his jurisdiction. He can't. You think a lawyer would know that. A lawyer, if you are going to go after somebody, you must go after them in the state where they live. So you have to know the copyright rules where they are. It's not about where you are.
Dave Neal
It's
said
about, oh, Dave, hey, you didn't miss anything, Dave. I was just going to go over some stuff. I'm not going to spend the entire show on these people because I'm getting really tired of the attention whoring. They are whoring for attention better than any attention whore I've ever seen. And I just don't want to give it to him all that much. So we're going to just go over a couple of things that he said in his video that I think are just absolutely stupid. But yeah, so here he is with his confirmation of receipt. Oh yeah, I have the copyright. Okay. You cannot just steal other people's content, he says, but this work is fully registered and everyone who stole my content will be able to argue their case in the court in Arizona. No, not Arizona. You're going to have to come to New York and you have to go to Florida and you have to go you're going to have to go to Tennessee. I don't think he's going to be able to drag people who don't live in Arizona into that jurisdiction. Good luck. And he says, and no, the Copyright Office cannot deny this registration. They will approve it and people who infringed on my work will get a summons. Hope you guys are copyright law experts like me. Fair use, not in this case. Wow.
one of the things that he seems to conflate is this idea of like DMCAing like a record studio, and someone takes a song and posts it on YouTube, and they don't own the copyright it, and they post it on a for the purposes of extracting money off of people wanting to listen to that song. And say they post it, they don't do anything with it, and they just get money from it, and they're passing it off as their own work.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a copyright violation because of the intent. But as soon as you start going into the commentary piece and you start reacting to entire video clips, then it completely changes what's going on. And so like when I did my stream of the Democratic National Convention, we're watching the entire stream being unfolded, and it's being broadcast on multiple networks. And even though I'm streaming one particular network's coverage, I'm providing my commentary over the entire stream. And when I got a copyright strike, I said I got it from NBC, but I was watching the ABC cam from NBC because I think in the same way that pool reporters do, they had like one coverage and then everyone just streams it. And it's like, well, I didn't even get it from NBC, so you can't claim copyright on it.
Yeah.
So then that got released pretty quickly. And it's really funny. They're like, oh, well, 300 people watched you versus the thousands of people on every other thing. And they're worried about that. It's funny.
Well, also, if he really wants wide viewership of his stuff, then he is going to necessarily rely on other YouTubers with bigger audiences to push it out there, which is something that I think he wants, but now he's made it to a point where a lot of people don't want to deal with him. So I'm not going to deal with your copyright crap. So why should I even put your video up on the screen and give you more of that attention that you want? That's the thing that really that I don't understand with him, is that he loves the attention. He wants the attention. He is literally whoring himself out for the attention. And then the second we try to give it to him, it's, I'm going to sue you. Nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And by the way, he has, by his own admission, says that we can play 5 minutes.
5 to 6 minutes of clips.
5 to 6 minutes of clips. Okay, fine. I don't think I need even 5 minutes of it. But by the way, he's wrong. He doesn't get to say how much time that we get to use to discuss and create commentary. Although I think 5 minutes is all that I can take from him. So I just want to point out that he continues. Oops, wrong side of the screen. He continues to refer to his client as a pregnancy faker. He did it again in his most recent video. And I think, here, let's watch that.
Yeah, it becomes less, the joke doesn't last if you keep going with it. and in the taste of the way that you're saying it, it comes off very bad.
Yeah, you think? Oh wait, I just lost it again. Hold on. Thank God for word search.
Like the self-deprecating humor of him calling himself douche canoe was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. I like the fact that he did that. What are we at? We're at 22 seconds in. Why is it not playing? Did he take it down again?
I sent you the audio from it.
Did you?
Remember I sent you the buttons?
Here we go. Yeah, I know. You sent me the buttons. But here we go. This is from his video last night. He's saying he's barely a lawyer, which I agree with.
And in there in Phoenix, Arizona. Joining me today on the Not a Podcast, don't have a name for it, is the pregnancy faker extraordinaire with a cool back whatever filter thing you have on there, Laura Owens. Let's hear it for Laura.
Are you kidding, David? Pregnancy faker. Okay, we believe she's a pregnancy faker, yes, but should her attorney be out there calling her a pregnancy faker again while she's possibly facing criminal charges for being a pregnancy faker? Does this seem like good legal advice to you? Anybody?
No.
No, it sure doesn't. So I'm using, in order to find the sections of this that I want to use, I'm just basically going through the transcript that YouTube helpfully puts up. And let's see. The other thing is that he keeps doing, if you have noticed, if you've watched this thing, he keeps asking Laura questions, but he cuts her off immediately. So she is not allowed to answer. I don't know why he has her there other than to just show that she's alive. I don't know. And that she's a presence, because he doesn't want her to speak at all. Did you notice that, Brad?
There's certain things that she talks about going into, like she brings up Mike and Greg, and then he's like, whoa, hold on. We'll get to that in a separate episode.
And then he never gets to it. They never actually get to it. I mean, this is so I thought maybe I could find those. I didn't write down timestamps, but I thought maybe I could find them
It was in the last third or so.
By searching through the frames when she's on the screen. So they're using this weird thing on Zoom that switches the cameras depending on who's talking. And I think it's a strange choice, but now I think I know why he did it. I don't think he wanted her to be on screen. I think he wanted her to be there as little as possible.
Yeah.
While he talks about his appeal, which, by the way, this appeal, from what he read, it's just the same old crap over and over and over again. There she is. All right, let's see. So thank you for doing it this way, David, because it made it much easier to
parse through.
Yeah.
We've gotten to go over it, and you've answered my questions.
Okay.
But I'm sure you will answer other people's too if they have them.
Yeah.
I know I did when I first read it.
Since I have you here, can I ask you, do you want to, I still want you to do at some point when you're ready, live debate with, maybe that's too much, but I'd like you, Aurora's knocking things over. I'd like you to at least answer some questions.
Okay, so he's going to let her answer a question. Well, that's interesting. Let's see which question he chooses. Is it going to be, hey, what was the fake name that you used at the Planned Parenthood you now say you went to in LA? Was it a question like that? No, couldn't be.
I'm going to read you one. This is the same question. I asked you this before. This is a question that was DM'd to me by a nice young lady named Ava. And she said, she had a question for you. My question to Laura, are you okay? And how are you currently doing?
Oh, come on. That is not a pressing question from the JFC community.
No.
Are you okay? How are you doing? Come on. Hey, Larry, it's the DUI guy plus in the chat. Buckle up. Hey, how are you? Glad to see you. Larry, I'm looking forward to some more videos from you, man. I can't wait. I know you've been busy. We're going to get to the update in Hale's case here real soon. So stay tuned if you're hanging around for that. We will be doing that in a few minutes because I'm not going to spend much more time on this. I'm telling you right now.
What does the future look like for you, and what are your plans and goals moving forward? And before you answer that, I have had pleasant
so it's him answering his own questions. We're going to go past here and see if he's actually going to let her answer something.
But that person who we're not going to name, but you know who I'm talking. She. That the person has said that, like, I don't know when to have people like.
Oh my God! Does he ever stop talking?
Terms, and nobody knows what happened, like you said, except for me and for Clayton, and like the gall of people to think that they can go and say this didn't happen that night. It was only oral sex. Like
that's why that is why.
Okay, so he cut her off there. He doesn't want her to finish that. He doesn't want her to talk about that anymore. He's going to cut her off.
Dave Neal, I have a real problem with him. I don't have a problem with people covering the case, and I don't have a problem with people talking about it, being interested in it, but you are not in the room. And Laura, I would never say to anybody that
we weren't in the room, but Clayton was. Clayton has told us a completely different story than Laura. So the idea that somehow he is less believable when we have an admitted liar and fabricator of medical records. She has fabricated medical records, admitted to it under oath. She's also a perjurer, perjured herself on the stand. We watched her do it. I was in the room when it happened. When she lied to the court and she said that she had gone to a Planned Parenthood in Mission Viejo and she put it in all her court records and documents. Then she got up on the stand and said she went to LA, that she lied. She didn't go to Mission Viejo. She went to LA. Come on. So the thing is, Laura, is that you're a liar. And so everyone believes Clayton because he has not lied. He has not lied to us about this case. He lied to you because that's what people do to get out of it. They try to lie to you to get away from you. So this idea that like, well, he lied to me, so he's a liar too, is ridiculous. That's absurd. People lie to stalkers to get them off their case. They lie to people who are harassing them so that they can somehow get out of it. All right, what else are you sending me? Oh. Wait, I gotta put this up. Yeah. This is so freaking funny. Rosalind, am I gonna get hit for the music on this? I hope it's not copyrighted. But like, I never even played that silly video that he put up on Twitter. I didn't play it here on this stream. And I didn't, and this will be the first time that we actually look at that. Let's see. How do I do this? Rosalind Duke made this, and it is a total crack up. How do I make it bigger? That's what she said. I don't think I can.
I don't think you can for shorts. Oh, there's a top right.
Oh, there we go. Well, it doesn't make it any bigger, but at least it takes the other stuff out. Okay, here we go.
It's douche canoe and pregnancy faker.
No.
Laura Owens. Let's hear it for Laura. Who's David Gingras? I am not a stand-up comedian. I am barely a lawyer hanging in there in Phoenix, Arizona.
It's douche canoe and pregnancy faker.
No.
Laura Owens. Let's hear it for Laura. Who's David Gingras? I am not a stand-up comedian. I am barely a lawyer hanging in there in Phoenix, Arizona.
It's douche canoe and pregnancy faker.
No.
Laura Owens. Repeat. Laura. Who's David Gingras? I am not a stand-up comedian.
This thing is, it's just so funny. Rosalind, great job. Great job. Watching him struggle through the Twitter thing is just... It's great. It's great. Okay. It was just really funny. But they're not funny anymore. I like the 2 R's in faker. Yeah. Bruce from Oregon. They're not funny anymore. And here's why. I think David Gingras has a real personality problem or disorder or something. I don't know. Maybe he's got substance abuse problems again. I don't know, but he's very unstable to me. He seems unstable. He acts unstable. And waving a pew pew on YouTube while talking about how angry you are at Judge Mata, Very bad idea. Very bad idea. I've known people to get arrested for actually writing just a strongly worded email to a judge that they were angry with. And I just can't believe that the court security is going to allow him to get away with that. I really can't. And I personally, after seeing that, was like, I want to stay as far away from this guy as possible, because I think he's having violent ideations, frankly, about people he hates. And then he goes into all this weird crap about Dave Neal being like Alex Jones. But let me see if I can find, so we're going to get to that, but I want to see if we can find the next time he cuts Laura off, because he cuts her off quite a lot.
While you're finding that, the weirdest thing to me was the level of narcissistic ego rubbing that he does on her during this video. And because they start talking about the supposed autism diagnosis, and he goes, well, Laura just suffers from a high IQ and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, why are you like trying to butter her ego up on this stream? It's not the point of this stream. If you want to talk to her about how great she is off stream, great, then do that. That's your own prerogative. But doing it in a public setting just feels weird. You're her attorney.
Did you say ego rubbing?
Yes.
What?
This will get awkward.
Yeah, she suffers from high IQ, folks. This is what happens when you're too smart. You're so smart that you lie about pregnancies and cancer and fake medical records. That's what being too smart. So now we've had autism's to blame and also a high IQ. So with all of you high IQ people out there, you know, you guys are a bunch of, I guess, liars and cheats and frauds. That's what having a high IQ does. Let's see. I think here's a segment with her in it.
Yeah, nobody should have a reaction if they have a positive home pregnancy test. They should just go about their day, right?
Well,
let alone lab tests.
Okay, we're going to get to all that. But
don't talk about that. In other words, we're going to get to all that. Don't talk about your pregnancy tests. Just don't talk about those, especially because you don't have any. And she admitted in court, by the way, that her pregnancy lab test showed she was not pregnant. So to come back and claim that, oh, well, that pregnancy lab test showed I was pregnant. No, it didn't. It didn't. It showed you did not have HCG levels that were appropriate for a pregnancy.
Well, in her definition, anything above like a 4 is definitive disposition of pregnancy, whether it was viable or not. It was elevated, and therefore, but as was discussed in the court case, there's a multitude of reasons why you could have elevated HCG, and the lack of any kind of confirmation of a fetal sac being implanted in the uterus, or a sonogram, or fetal heartbeat recognition, any of these other things that would have been much more dispositive of a positive pregnancy than these other indicators, as Bruce likes to mention. It's just...
Yeah, no medical confirmation of a pregnancy whatsoever. None.
Conscious of how I look on camera, of she's that I win dances. And this the other day.
That question? Do you want me to read it again? Do you want that from Ava?
I know what it is. But
how are you doing? You okay?
Yeah. So I answered this the other day when we were at the studio, and I think I can answer it in an even better way at this point. I think under no circumstances am I okay. I think that the fact that when you and I recorded that 2-minute video at the studio, that I saw so many comments from people saying like, "Oh, she's smiling, she's fine, like she's okay." I feel like for JFC, I'm so self-conscious of how I look on camera, of how my face looks, of whether I smile or not, and I know everything's going to get turned into a meme.
Okay, first of all, everything has not been turned into a meme. She has released photographs that made people really uncomfortable that never made it into a meme. For instance, the photographs of her that David put on his blog, where she looks painfully thin in wearing leggings, and like, we just all ignored it. We were just like, this is not something. That's when it started to become unfunny. Like, This person is in a bad situation. She's doing bad things to people. She's doing bad things to herself. And nobody is making fun of that. Like, literally no one is making fun of that. And it hasn't been a meme. The only pictures of her that made it into memes were the ridiculous claims she made, the Halloween costume thing, where she lied under oath again in a courtroom, claiming that was her sonogram to Judge Judy. And then she goes and claims in another courtroom it was never her sonogram. So, nonsense. Rogue Mama, is that happening, or are you just reminding people? Because yes, we should have that reminder. Okay, good. Because if it's happening, I'm going to get the chancla out. Just saying. I will pull this stream over. I will beat you with my shoe. If anyone is doing the things that the mods are telling you not to do, I will pull this chat over. And I'm not kidding. I'm not in the mood. All right. I'm just kidding. I am in the mood. I will play with you. Don't worry. The thing is that she can't accept that she's been caught multiple times. And the faces that she made in Zoom court, yes, thank you, Hey Joe, for pulling me back onto the track there. The only other faces of hers that made it into memes were her face in court, which is why I think he's keeping her off the camera, because she doesn't have good control over her face. She has poor facial control when it comes to her facial expressions, and she tends to make outrageous and ridiculous faces. Thank you for the reminder to turn the monetization on. Get ready for a commercial. It's probably going to happen. I forgot to turn it on.
Whoops.
They really should it should just be there all the time.
I have mine set to automatic.
I can't make mine do it, and it's driving me crazy. So anyway, if you're watching a commercial now, I'm sorry, but I had to turn the monetization on. All right, because despite what David Gingras thinks, I have every right to have my channel monetized and make money on my channel, regardless of what the topic I'm talking about is. And by the way, people tune in here for me. They don't tune in for you and your content. They tune in for me. I could be talking about my hair and they would still be here. In fact, I feel like I need to talk about my hair. So hold on a second.
We need a hair day.
We have a hair problem. So my hair is really dry, and I almost went to the hair salon and got it all chopped off. I was feeling really bad about it because it's winter now and it's drying out, and like no matter what I do to it, like especially these front pieces are just dry as heck. I almost chopped off all my hair. and then I realized I really like this length right now, and if I chop it off, I'm going to be really sad.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do it. Yeah, Jennifer goes, and then your cycle came. Yeah, so I was basically having a hair crisis. But I even made the appointment, and then I called her and I was like, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. And don't listen to me. I don't want to chop it off yet. But I do need to go in and get like a deep conditioning treatment. I think that's the problem. And maybe clarifying. I don't know.
I have no idea what these words are.
Flux, don't chop off the hair. Well, I almost did. I was going to go like this short because I have had enough. And I feel like it might need a big chop soon. I don't know. It wasn't election related though. So at least you could, it wasn't depression related. I'm just having dry spots that are bothering me. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
The supers are coming in for the pullover.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, unbelievable. So this is the thing. Look at how I got no super chats while I was talking about David Gingras and his stupid content no one cares about. Yet at the second I start talking about my hair, they're sending in the super chats. Hey, Joe, thanks for the super sticker. Appreciate you. Cynic in Chief, thanks for the 5. Can you close the stream with the song Twin Pregnancy Hat Trick by Hear Me Out on YouTube? It's the best song to come out of the Tonsil Twins case. Oh, no. I reject that. I object to that. There's no way that can top minor perjury.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no way. I haven't heard it, but I'm saying there couldn't possibly be a better song than minor perjury. But I'll look it up.
And without express written consent, there becomes a copyright concern.
Right. Angel Australia, thanks for the gifted 5 Megan Fox memberships. Welcome to all of you to the Fox Den who got that. Please thank Angel. James Barron, thanks for the 5. That solicitor has a lot in common with Bubbles. I know, it's so weird. I'm like a weirdo magnet. I keep attracting these weirdo lawyers. I don't know why. Jim Schuler, thanks for the 5. Save the hair for moisturizing product. And you know how expensive the products are. You know, it's a nightmare. Fake Laura Owens, thanks to the 5. Sorry, I'm late. I was at my Autistics Anonymous meeting. Squid Pro Quo, thanks to the 2. Get a bonnet. You know, I did get a bonnet, and I did not like how it made my hair smushed. So I do the pineapple on top of my head to sleep, and it works out good for me. BS, thanks to the 5. Let's talk more about your sweater dress. You should learn to knit. It helps calm nerves. Funny fact, I know how to knit and crochet. I prefer crocheting. I don't like knitting because if you miss something, you have to go and undo it all and then redo it. And to me, that is so hard. I can't pick up stitches when I'm knitting. I have not learned how to do that right. So crocheting is so much easier because you just pick up where you just pull out stitches and then redo them. So I prefer crocheting, but I do love to do it. I just haven't in a really long time. So I need to make some. I want to make some leg warmers, though. I'm going to make them with my chat in locals.
She barely
By the
has
way,
time to stream, let alone to do other, recreational things.
but I could crochet on stream. I could, probably. I don't know. Here's the thing. So my locals chat is open right now, by the way. We do have a live chat on locals, and we are live on Rumble, rumble.com. Make sure you get over there. And locals, meganfox.locals.com, and there is a live chat if you want to share memes in there and hang out in there. You just have to sign up. It is only $5 a month, and we have had a record number of subscribers. I am up to I set a goal for myself for 1,000 new subscribers, and we are at 800, Brad.
Ooh.
800 new subscribers. So I am very excited about that. If you guys have not subscribed over there on locals, it's just another way to support the show and get some other exclusive content that you don't get here on YouTube or on Rumble. And, I share chicken videos and stuff like that, cooking videos sometimes. And I'm going to be doing more gaming with you guys over there as well. So I'm hoping to do a locals trucking stream where we can all be in a convoy together. So my locals chat can sign up on Steam, get the American trucking game, and we'll truck together. It'll be fun. All right. Why do I suddenly want to stream of Megan and Runkle trying to discuss something together? Well, I've been on stream with Ian. So I think he's been here. Yeah, he's been on my channel, and I've been on his as well. You just have to kind of search around on my channel to find it.
Ian's prepping to do a thing on David Gingras right now.
Oh, good. By the way, I did want to bring this up, you guys. And Rosalind, please do drop the link in the chat. This is a great fundraiser, by the way. If you are tired of attention whoring and all the other crap that's going on and the obfuscation of the truth that's going on with David Gingras and his client, get over to Rosalind Duke's fundraiser. Get your what merch, and the proceeds are all being donated to the victims' legal funds. So anybody who needs legal funds, who's attached to Laura Owens, like Mike Maricini, to get his restraining order overturned, or Greg Gillespie for that matter, everything here will be.
Click inside the What collection.
All right. Is the red sweater collection hilarious? Because it sounds like it would be. What? It's the Pond Scum Posse crew merch, the JFC crew. Look at this. So, oh my God. I need that ornament. I need it. I'm buying that. I'm hanging Lauren on my tree dressed up as Laura Owens. Are the red sweater, is that all Lauren's face?
That's all Lauren's face.
Oh my God, it's so great. Look at the chanclas. It's chanclas with her face on it and stickers. And look at this. Oh my God, there's Christmas tags. Oh, you guys, this is too much. This is so great. Oh my gosh. I didn't even see all of the. Look at the blankets. A phone case. Pond Scum Posse, baby. Yep. Wow. And then there's the what? What does this candle smell like? Anybody?
I don't want to say. I'll demonetize you.
Does it smell like David Gingras' podcast?
We'll go with Horse Farm.
Oh my God. You guys get over there, and there's only until Black Friday, I think, before the fundraiser is over. So please make sure that you do go and buy yourself a $16 candle or something else. Oh, it's unscented. That's unfortunate. There were so many ways you could have gone with this.
At least say it's mystery flavor, so you got to buy it in order to find out what it is.
All right. Let's get back over to, unfortunately, this dingus and his and his client and her delusions.
So that just really shows how little JFC gets it. And
it just shows what a sick group of really sad people they are. I mean,
are you sad, Brad?
I'm not sad.
I too am not sad. I am not sad. Neither am I sick. I am sick of her and I'm sick of him, but I'm not a sick individual as he is claiming. I'm pretty sick of them though. That I am sick of. Yes.
You know, again, I don't care if you support Clayton.
All right. And I don't care to hear him.
And I
don't care to him.
I'm really concerned that you wouldn't have more with there's, you know.
All right, so he interrupted her again. He did not let her continue like he claimed he was doing. He claimed that that's what this was about, letting her talk.
And that yet, I think, confident your side. And that's fine. You know,
where
to
is
you in the
she?
future.
Where's the part where he cuts her off when she's talking about?
If you search the transcript for Greg, it should be pretty close to the end.
Oh yeah, good call. Let's search the transcript for Greg.
I'm pulling up next topic things.
Okay. Greg. Not that Greg, different Greg. He's talking about Greg Woodneck. Ah, here it is. Yes. All right. Let's pull this back up.
I think we need to have the public get to know you a little bit better. We need to do this a bit more often, and try to take some control back of the narrative. And that's what is the weirdest thing about JFC. They are so angry when you fight back against their narrative. They will not tolerate anything that interrupts their narrative. And it's weird.
No. See, people will not tolerate anything that is a lie. I don't think that all these people are just getting super angry. I think they just don't want to tolerate lies.
Weird. Why are you so angry, guys? Why are you so afraid?
Why are they so angry and saying that, like, even with autism, like, I'm trying to weaponize that and I'm doing a disservice to everybody who's been autistic?
Yes, that's what you're doing. Because autistic people, it's not an excuse to say I'm autistic, therefore I defrauded men. That's not okay. That's not fair. Because that's not what autistic people are like. So even if you have autism, you're blaming your autism. You're blaming autism on this terrible behavior.
Or with domestic violence, like none of it happened with Mike or Greg or with Clayton. None of it happened.
Yeah. Okay. Stop. We're gonna get into.
We're just gonna put a pin in that and leave it over there.
So let's watch that just again a little bit.
To everybody,
what's he upset about here?
Been autistic or with domestic violence, like none of it happened with Mike or Greg or with Clayton. None of it happened.
Yeah. Okay. Stop. We're gonna get into that. Get into that. Okay. But from what I've seen, knowing you, and look, people, I've been your sort of spokesperson, I guess.
Okay.
Worst PR guy ever.
Worst. Okay. Stop. So stop. It's almost like the hand motions in court, one of the things that the judge, which I haven't even been on stream since this all broke, but Judge Mata, God, I can't believe I forgot this, filed a bar complaint against this man. Do you know how huge that is?
It's pretty bad.
It's very, very bad. When a judge files a bar complaint against you, I heard someone in the chat say, I would just hand my bar card in. It's not only extremely embarrassing, but it carries a lot of weight. So for all of you out there who are like, why won't the bar do anything about this guy? So many people have complained. And yeah, they don't seem to do anything about it. They cannot ignore a bar complaint from a judge. It's just like the county attorney can't ignore the referral from the judge to investigate this woman for fraud and whatever else, perjury. So I think David has dug his own grave. He is now, he keeps digging and he's making himself a comfy place to lay down. And I think the Judge Mata is going to end up burying him. And he's just going to keep up his attacks on this judge who complained to the bar about him, which is unbelievable because she could add a complaint at any time. She can add to her complaint. It's not like you file one and then that's it. You're done. With the bar, if he does more stuff, she can just keep adding. So let's move on from him because I've had enough of him and his delusional client. And I will not be covering anything that they do in their attention whoring scheme to get more attention from all of us. I will not be playing along. I will be reading court documents as they come out in the court record. I will be doing that, and I will be just covering it the way I always do. I will be watching to see what the county attorney does, and I would encourage all of you to keep tagging the county attorney in his terrible behavior and hers, because we don't want her to forget that she has a job to do and to protect the people of Arizona from this kind of fraud. And she should definitely be charged. Okay, moving on. So we have. What do you have here? Is this a?
So you're Catholic, correct?
Yes.
Have you seen the new mascot for the 2025 Jubilee?
No.
All right. So Roman Catholics have put out this new mascot for the Jubilee and went viral.
Is this going to make me embarrassed to be a Catholic?
No, actually, it's really funny.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
This
I'm
is
ready.
the unveiling of Lucy, Italian for light.
Okay.
And a lot of people are like, it's basically you're animating this mascot, and she's adorable. Like,
she's adorable, but that's one of the children who had the vision of Mary, I believe. I think one of them's name was Lucy, so that makes sense.
But so here's the Wikipedia page for her. Lucy is the official mascot of Light, designed by Tokidoki founder Simone Legno, represents a Catholic pilgrim. She is accompanied by her dog named Santino and 3 friends named Faye, Shin, and Sky. Lucy is blue hair.
Fatima. Wasn't it the Fatima sighting, right? That's what the chat says.
Idea.
Yeah.
I'm not Catholic, so all of this is...
I believe this is based on one of the children of Fatima, but I could be wrong. All right, let's see. She has blue hair. I'm not sure I like the blue hair. And wears a yellow rain jacket, which is colored in reference to the flag of Vatican City, as well as a symbol for journeying through life's storms. A pilgrim's staff, pilgrimage toward eternity, wears mud-stained boots to represent a long and difficult journey. Blah, blah, blah. Symbol of hope. Wears a multicolored world mission rosary around her neck. Okay. Simon Legno, Lucy's designer, said he hoped Lucy can represent the sentiments that resonate in the hearts of the younger generations. It's funny.
All right. So then she gets announced and internet goes wild. So we've got cosplayers.
Oh, no. Is that copyrighted music?
I doubt it.
Well, just mute it just in case.
Well, anyway. So she's
That's hilarious.
blessing the Templars at a convention. And then we get memes.
Rip. Are there trading cards?
I don't think there's trading cards, but
What in the Nope. Somebody needs to rethink that.
no,
Nope.
I like this one.
Why is he naked? I don't like it.
He would have been mostly naked on the cross.
Nope. Don't like. Do not like.
Anyway.
Do not put children there. Nope.
It's the representation of she has the power of God on her side, but
I like this one.
you are absolved from your paper hands just by hire.
Oh, that's funny. Damn. Oh, that's awful. Oh, Brad, leave it to you to find the crazy. All right, we got to get to the what the hell's case. So what we have here is there is a motion for summary judgment that has been filed on behalf of in the thumbnail lawsuit. Now, this is the thumbnail lawsuit, remember? It's 9 pages. I don't want to go over the entire thing. But basically, this is the one that is against Larry, Jeremy, George, and DJ Radis. They are moving for summary judgment, which means basically that they want the court to decide this before they even get there. There's breaking news. The judge has granted a hearing for this. So we had the hearing that was denied for the sham motion that Randy put in, which I don't really understand because the rule says you must have a hearing when someone brings up the sham motion. So the judge denied that. Randy put in a motion for reconsideration for that, which we're still waiting to hear. But in the meantime, he also wrote a motion for summary judgment, which is this, and the judge granted a hearing for this, which will be in January. So there is going to be a hearing. I don't know the exact date yet. I don't know January what, but I have asked to be allowed to hear first right away when in January, because I'm going to make every effort to be there to cover it. And also, if I can't be there, even if I can be there, I'm going to try and get Lauren to get there to film it. So Lauren and I are going to work together on that. Hopefully that we'll get a date on that soon so we can start planning, because January is just around the corner.
It's terrifying. We were talking about that yesterday. We were like, yeah, it just seems like August was here and now it's November. And it's like, wait, what? Where did everything go?
Yeah, and the holidays are going to make everything fly even faster. So, yeah, hold on to your shorts, because next thing you know, it's going to be August and the federal case will be ongoing. So, yeah. And by the way, I will definitely be headed to Florida for that. I will be there for that for sure. All right. So, I can't tell you right off the bat if I'm going to be there in January. I have a guest coming in January. So it better not be in the first week of January. First 2 weeks. First 2 weeks is going to be tough. Anything after that I can do. Before May 1st, okay, the rule entitled to move into summary judgment if the pleadings and summary judgment evidence on file showed there was no genuine issue as to any material fact and that the moving party was entitled to judgment as a matter of law. So basically asking, Judge, you can decide this right now. While at first blush, these summary judgment standards seem similar, the different interpretations given to them by Florida courts amounted to a growing chasm. Until the new summary judgment standard was adopted, Florida movements had to jump the almost insurmountable hurdle of essentially proving a negative, the non-existence of a genuine issue of material fact. Okay, blah, blah, blah. This is just going over the rules. Let's get to his argument. And then don't worry, tonight, Tug is probably going to read through this in its entirety. So we don't need to do it right now today. I want to just do an overview today before we get right into it. So this is his argument about this being an issue. And I want to know what his argument is about this particular facts of this case. This is still case law. I know if Randy's watching me do this, he's like, don't skip the case law. I understand. We'll get to it tonight. We'll get to it tonight. I just want to see where his arguments are. Analysis. Summary judgment is appropriate because plaintiff lacks the evidence to prove any defendant has violated Florida statute 540.08. And I would agree with that statement. This is, remember, the thumbnail lawsuit. This is the lawsuit that Lynette Preston is bringing against these people for using her picture on a thumbnail. I don't know if anybody noticed my thumbnail today, but her picture's on it because guess what? There is no law that says we YouTubers and news people cannot use pictures of people who are in public news stories as thumbnails. It's ridiculous. Summary judgment is appropriate because there is an absence of evidence to support the plaintiff's case, as each count is based on a purported violation of Florida Statute 540.08, for which there is a complete lack of evidence. The complaint is bereft of any attachments. It merely alleges that the defendant published Ms. Preston's name and image without her consent. For example, the complaint wrongly states that each defendant has violated Florida Statute 540.08 by publishing Ms. Preston's picture on video thumbnails without her consent and by publishing and using her name and images in videos without her consent. But the inclusion of one's name, likeness, portrait, or photograph in any type of publication alone does not give rise to valid cause of action under the statute. Each of the defendants have YouTube channels. And then it just gives the examples of those. And to capitalize on the stories following in the forms of views and subscribers to his channel, published and displayed Ms. Preston's image in his channel's video thumbnails for 9 public videos, all without obtaining her consent. Oh, this was about Foreman in the guise of covering the what the hell story, blah, blah, blah. Each of the defendant's YouTube channels are free programs intended to entertain and or inform the public. That is correct. Neither plaintiff cannot show that their name and likeness was used to promote some other product or service on the show, separate and apart from each defendant's YouTube channels. A YouTube channel is not therefore in and of itself a commercial purpose. No, it is not. Furthermore, the promotion and advertising of YouTube channels do not constitute a commercial purpose. And he's citing CF Fuentes v. Mega Media Holdings, where it says, plaintiff's complaint is centered around defendant's purportedly wrongful use of plaintiff's copyrighted material. More specifically, plaintiff complains defendants infringed on plaintiff's copyrights by using the material in a broadcast on the Maria Elvira Salazar television program called Maria Elvira Live without plaintiff's consent. Defendant also allegedly uploaded the same copyrighted material to the internet by posting video clips of the show on the website and uploading the material to YouTube. Plaintiff claims he did not authorize such use of his copyrighted material. In addition to using the copyrighted material, plaintiff claims defendants illegally used his image and likeness during the Maria Elvira live show and posted it on YouTube. There are a number of Florida cases that hold the use of one's name, likeness, portrait, or photograph, whether in a news report, television show, play, novel, or the like, is not actionable unless the individual's name or likeness is used to directly promote a commercial product or service separate and apart from the publication. So, for instance, that site we just looked at with the what products that for Laura Owens victims, if Rosalind had used Laura's picture instead of Lauren's, and Lauren gave permission for that, that would be a copyright violation because that is separate and apart from the YouTube shows. It is a fundraiser. It is selling something with someone's face on it for a profit or for some other purpose, right? That would be a copyright violation. But this is not putting someone's photo on your YouTube thumbnail. It's just not. That's part of the program, which is covered by the law under news programs and other programs like podcasts, etc. Wherefore, defendants Jeremy Hales, George, Larry Foreman request this court enter an order awarding them summary judgment against, reserving rulings on attorneys' fees and costs, and any other relief deemed appropriate by this court. All right, great. And later tonight, I am sure that Tug will go over the case law and everything in detail. So that's all. But I did want to let you know that the judge has granted a hearing for the motion for summary judgment. That will happen in January. When I find out when in January, I will let you know. All right, there are some other shenanigans going on in the world. There are things I want to talk about that are not having to do with any of these cases, and I can't seem to get away from them, from these cases. It's like, it's insane. And I would like to look at a couple of things that have been bothering me since the election. Okay. All right. And so if those of you who really don't like any of my political views, you can go now. It's okay. I just have some things to talk about Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is in there's some nonsense going on in Pennsylvania. My good friend Matt Margolis over at PJ Media did write an article about this. The effort to steal the Pennsylvania Senate seat is too much, even for the liberal media. So this is interesting because the race has been called for McCormick by multiple outlets. The Associated Press called the race 2 days after the election, and the Decision Desk HQ, waiting for more votes to be counted, acknowledged that Casey had no path to victory and called it last week. Casey has not only refused to concede, but has notorious election fixer Mark Elias doing everything he can to steal the election. Last week in Bucks County, the Commissioners Board voted 2-1 to disregard the advice of its legal counsel and defy a Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruling on ballot counting. So the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania told them to stop counting these ballots that were not legal. They were illegal ballots. And this Commissioners Board said, nah, we're going to keep doing it. Let me show you. There's video of them doing it. Like, this is so crazy. Listen to this woman.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
Not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Oh, so I'm going to violate the law because it doesn't matter anyway. So I want the court to take notice of me. Well, good luck, lady. I hope they do. I hope they do. Yeah, what a mess is right. When people say that, they're upset about election integrity, this is one of the reasons. And they are defying a Supreme Court decision by continuing to count these ballots that have been adjudicated to be illegal ballots. So I'll read this post by Kyle Becker. It said, Justin, the Democratic commissioner in Bucks County who openly defied a court order not to count illegal misdated ballots in the Pennsylvania election gave campaign contributions to Democratic senatorial candidate Bob Casey. Well, that's not a huge surprise. The election official, Diane Ellis Marseglia, earlier caused a stir with her comments that she would ignore the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And then we just heard her say that. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention. The Washington Free Beacon reported that Ellis Marseglia has been a frequent donor to Senate candidate Bob Casey, whose vote total has grown to within the 0.5% recount margin after Election Day. The Bucks County official gave to Casey or his PAC at least 4 times. The race is headed for an automatic recount that will stop on November 27th, unless they decide to count more ballots. Do you guys see that this is crazy? So when the right says you have to stop counting ballots because this is ridiculous, the left always comes back with, you don't want all the votes counted. It's always what they say. You don't want us to count the votes. But that's not the case. We don't want you to count illegal votes. We don't want you to count ballots that are not properly filled out. Because some of these, they're finding signature problems. They're finding that there's no address on them. And if you haven't filled out your ballot properly, It should not be counted, period.
Undated, misdated, whatever the case may be.
Whatever the case, we have rules for a reason. Yeah, we don't, right. Jim says, yeah, right. We don't want all the votes counted because there are illegal ones in there. That's right. We only want the actual legal ballots that were cast properly. We only want those counted. And if I'm the unfortunate person who has a ballot that was filled out wrong, well, that's my fault. My ballot didn't get counted because I filled it out wrong. Well, fill it out right. It's not that difficult. And, are these all these mail-in ballots? Is that what these are?
Probably.
Do you know? Yeah, because I've never done that before. I've never done like an absentee ballot. I just walk to I go to the polling station, fill out my little circles, and move on. I don't know why that's so hard for people. Yeah, a lot of them were unsigned. If you don't sign your ballot, it's not legal. You can't have it. Like, you can't count it if it's unsigned. And I'm sorry that they don't like those laws, but those are laws we need to pay attention to.
You can get rid of all of these problems by saying, if the goal is to get maximum participation, removing mail-in as an option and doing 2 weeks of in-person early voting at your local township office or whatever the case removes all of the problems in this near entirely.
Yep. I hate mail-in ballots. I think it's an absolute ridiculous idea. I think it should not be a thing unless it's an emergency, unless you're overseas because of military or you're a senior and you can't leave your home. I think those should be the only exceptions. It's just, to me, you get that you go vote on when it's voting day. And I don't even like early voting. I don't see why we need to do it. But if we could eliminate this mail-in ballot problem by, like you said, doing 2 weeks of early voting, fine, then let's do that. But it's ridiculous that these mail-in ballots become a thing now ever since 2020, really, since the whole COVID hoax. Not COVID, you know what I mean? The ballot hoax. Not the COVID hoax. I didn't mean COVID hoax, YouTube overlords. COVID's real. Don't tase me, bro. But the ballot hoax that went on that year was real bad with the ballot harvesting and that with opening up to anybody who wanted to do mail-in ballots was crazy.
Speaking of COVID, you want to talk about the Kindle store thing you found?
Oh yeah, so that's really annoying. So, all right. By the way, so my good friend, a good friend of mine, sent me RFK Jr.'s book, probably like 2 years ago, probably when it first came out. I'm not sure when he wrote it, but he sent it to me. It's been sitting on my shelf, and I have not picked it up yet. So I went to pick it up the other day, but I realized it's a really big book, and I'm like, I wonder if this is on Kindle. So I feel like putting this on my Kindle or putting it in Speechify so someone can read it to me while I am, doing other things, because I don't have time to just sit and read. So I go on to Kindle and I'm thinking, I'll just buy it on Kindle and then I can read it have Snoop Dogg read it to me on Speechify. And I look it up on Kindle and look what I find. I mean, and this is so obnoxious. I am so sick of these people. I am sick of what they do. I'm sick of the censorship. Now, you can think whatever you want about RFK Jr. It's okay to think whatever you want about him. But look at what happens when you look him up on Kindle. For the latest information on the you-know-what and the you-know-whats, please visit the CDC. Now, this book is all about the corruption at the CDC. It's called The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health. This is an amazing book. I have already been gasping at the stuff that he's revealing in this book and about what happened during that time period that no one wants you to know about. And here's Jeff Bezos putting a warning on my Kindle notifications that there's something wrong with this book. They want you to know there's something wrong with it. Oh, because it's not the latest information. They're basically saying it's a fact check. They're putting a fact check on his book. Why are they doing this?
And if you hate Kindle or want to get away from the censorship of information, this is Rakuten, which owns Kobo. And this is the store page for that.
Oh, I've never heard of this. Oh,
Yeah.
so see here, there's no warning, which there should not. And these are the same people, by the way, who will not put a warning on a book for kids that has graphic, schmexual content in it, including ARP and other things. They will not put a warning on those books because they claim that that is book burning. But they will put a warning on RFK Jr.'s book. Are you kidding me? Where is the Library Association on this? Where is the American Library Association to say that this is wrong, that labeling this book as being some kind of, propaganda or whatever is wrong? Where are they? Where are they? No one should be able to put a warning on a book like this. Now, frankly, I think there should be warnings on children's books, though, that deal with adult topics. And I don't know why that's so difficult for the American Library Association to come to terms with. But if there are, blowjobs in a book for kids, I want to know about it so that my kid isn't reading it. My 10-year-old, okay, because that's not appropriate for 10-year-olds. But that's the kind of stuff they're doing.
Kobo has e-readers too, so you can
oh, cool.
Not
really
pay Kindle if you want.
Interesting. So this is a Kindle
alternative
competitor.
Yep.
Interesting. You know those note-taking pads that like the Ellipsa or whatnot? I was using one of those at the Best Buy. They had one on display, and I was like messing around with it. God, I like those.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if I would actually use it. They're so expensive. But I do use notebooks. Like I go through reams and reams of notebooks, and I have boxes of notebooks, and I don't know why I keep them because it has all my notes for all my stories that I've ever worked on, I feel like this would be a much better thing.
Yeah, my wife got a note-taking thing. I can't remember the name of it, but basically the same concept is that it's an e-ink display tablet that you can write on with a stylus.
But they do other things too. It'll turn your notes into into a typed page as well. It does all kinds of things. So you can draw on it, but it will also turn it into a graph or whatever. If you're drawing it's amazing. It's really,
you can do that with an iPad too, with the Apple Pencil too. So
yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, but I'm leaning towards one of these.
I'm gonna ask my wife for one of these for Christmas.
What is this?
The ebook reader, but it also does color a little bit.
Oh, that's fun. So you can also write in it as well?
I think you can stylus with it. It looks like you can to highlight and whatnot.
But that looked like handwritten notes that you were looking at there. In that first.
No, that's highlighting and with
No. The first one. What's behind it? See what's behind that? Looks like a calendar and handwritten notes, doesn't it? Why does it keep shifting? There, right there. Go up. See, this week, Tuesday, Monday. Doesn't that look like handwritten notes?
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
But
all right, I'm going to have to look into it.
You were talking about the Ellipsa, which is the bigger brother of that one. But
oh, gotcha. Silhouette 1, thanks for the Canadian 2. Can you pass this on to Larry? Absolutely not. I will not do that. Larry's had his share. Pickled Tink, thanks for the 10. I'm hopefully going to get my hair chopped off this afternoon before I go to the hospital tomorrow for surgery on Wednesday. This will be the 4th surgery over the last year. Broken hips are no fun. I'm so sorry to hear that. And I hope that you do well and come out and your recovery is short. Elephant, thanks for the 10. I found that the deep conditioner native hair mask with some time with a shower cap over it does great for moisturizing long hair. You're welcome. I'll have to check that out. I will have to check that out. Cynic in Chief, thanks for the 2. Try Bumble and Bumble Invisible Oil Shampoo Conditioner. Oh, Bumble and Bumble. Okay, will do. Absolutely will do. All right, what else did I want to show you guys? So there are so many things that have been happening. Oh, yeah, Mika and Joe. Am I the only one who doesn't want to hear Mika and Joe at all about any of this anymore? Like, you guys are out of touch. Let's hear what MSNBC is whining about now.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was...
So they met with Satan?
Yeah.
They did this purposefully?
Why would you allow yourself to be in the mere presence of Hitler?
I don't
the second
know.
coming.
I don't know why you would do this. Mika, what were you thinking?
This is the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
No, we talked.
Wait. That part is
By
funny.
whose choice?
That part is really funny. They haven't spoken to this man in 7 years, but their entire show is about attacking him just daily, just attacking, calling him names and stuff. But they haven't spoken to him in 7 years. Okay. The funny part is that Trump actually put out a statement about this on Truth Social. Did you see it?
I didn't.
Let me see if I can actually get in and see it. I don't know if I can because I'm not. Am I logged in on this computer? No, I'm not.
There's an X account that reposts
Oh wait, I am.
Truth stuff.
Oh shit. No, I have to. An X account. There's an X account that does. Okay, we need that because I can only get on Truth Social on my phone because I don't know what my new password is. Truth Social is annoying. All right, here's real Donald Trump. Okay, here's what he said. Wait, where is it? God, he posts a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
God, where is it? I don't see it. But it was basically saying that Joe begged him, begged to be seen. And then he just begged and made a fool of himself begging. Did you find it?
Yeah.
All right. The response to this is so funny.
Talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications.
Why would he want to talk to these two? I don't understand why he would want to talk to these two. All right, yeah, this is what he said. So this morning, Morning Joe and Mika, who owe their careers to me, went on their show and claimed to have met with me. They made it sound like we had a summit. Truth is, Joe begged to meet with me after our big win, and when I finally agreed, he approached me like a scolded dog. He should consider himself lucky that I didn't have him thrown out of beautiful Mar-a-Lago. Mika was charming as usual. I'm not actually sure if he did write this. This could be a hoax because I don't see it on his Truth Social page.
Yeah.
But then again, it does sound like him, but he might not have said it. It's still funny.
It is funny.
It is funny. I like the people who write his fake tweets and stuff and fake Truth Socials are so good at it that you can't tell the difference. But it cracks me up. It cracks me up. This whole thing cracks me up. These people crack me up. They went for years trying to convince you that this man is the devil incarnate and that we all have to be terrified and scared of him. And yet they're flying to Mar-a-Lago to have fancy dinners with him. You know, that's what this is about.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
feeling very left out. They see Elon's there and RFK Jr. and all their former Democrat friends who have joined Trump, like Tulsi, and they're all partying and going to UFC fights. And these two are like feeling left out. I think they're feeling left out. But whatever.
I've never
All
liked Morning Joe because he was a congressman, right? And then he quit and became a media pundit.
I actually don't know much about him. I find him so what's the word I'm looking for? Repulsive, that I just don't pay attention. All right, I have a new article out. I have a new article out on PJ Media. Clickety click, people. Clickety click, you mofos. Get over there and clickety click on this because it will help me. It's free unless your thumbs are broken. Is your index finger broken? I'm sure you can figure it out. Get over there and clickety click. This is my newest article. And it's called Being a Good Winner Doesn't Include Cancel Mobs. Now, some of you are aware, I had a tweet that went viral the other day about Spawn's college assignment. And I had both sides of the aisle coming at me real in a harsh way, asking me to dox the professor. On the right, they wanted her name and the school's name. And on the left, they were calling me a liar, saying it never happened. And so this is my article basically going over why I didn't do either. And I absolutely, it did happen, but I'm absolutely not going to dox the professor because that would be silly. We're trying to get along with people. We're trying to make Americans friends again. And we can't do that by doxing and, causing somebody's life to be hell for the next 3 months just by the click of a button. I could do that, but I'm not going to. So in this article, you can see I break down the parts of the assignment and I copied and pasted them from it, from the assignment from the class. So it's all there, but I wanted to read to you just a little bit of the part here about not outing the professor. As to the criticism from the right that I owe the internet the name of the professor and the school my daughter attends so they can feel a sense of relief by mean tweeting her in the school, I object. The safety of my child will always come first. I have kept my children out of the spotlight and will continue to do so until they choose whether or not they want it. My 18-year-old is not shy about what she believes, but I have a large platform and that can do a lot of damage if I don't use it wisely. What would happen to my child if I did expose her professor in her school? We live in New York. Do you think it would be more or less difficult for her to make friends in a new school after becoming the catalyst for a cancel mob that got a professor fired, or more likely promoted, after a social media campaign launched by conservatives? Do you think it would help heal the divide between MAGA kids and far-left professors, or do you think that other avenues would be more helpful to both goals? I reject cancel mobs. There was a time when I felt the way some of you do and wanted to inflict as much pain on the left as they inflicted on some of us, but I've changed my mind. It is far better to try and change hearts and minds through rational, thoughtful dialogue, and if that doesn't work, there is the dean of the school. So far, all my daughter needed was a little help finding the right study that her professor would accept. She will write her topic as planned, and if she receives an unfair grade, we will take it to the next level, but that level isn't Twitter. So go ahead and read that. Make sure you click on it. You can click on it from multiple browsers. That would be helpful. Just kidding. I don't even know if that makes a difference. But click it, share it to social media because I am back. I've been writing a little bit, and the one that I wrote right before this was quite good too. It was about Generation X and why Generation X turned out for Trump in such large numbers. 56% of Generation X voted for Trump. And this article is about why. People are asking why, 53% still. People are asking why is Generation X so pro-Trump? And this article will tell you why. And it's really interesting. It did go pretty viral. I was on a radio station talking about it. It was good stuff. And if you are one of my locals crew, then you got to see that interview because that is on a locals exclusive about this article. Gen X, clickety click. Here you go. All right. So make sure that you add that to your list of stuff to do today. Rogue Mama, support Megan's gaming addiction. That's funny. It's very funny. She means gaming on video games. SF, thanks for the 5. The harder everyone pushes against his nominations, the more I know they're the right people for the job. LFG. And Kirby Johnson, thanks for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Fox Den. It's weird in here, but you'll get used to it. All right. So here's the thing. There has been some talk about Matt Gaetz and his nomination, which is allegedly very controversial. And why is it controversial? It's controversial because the ethics committee was investigating him for some pretty extreme things like sex trafficking and I don't know if there's ARP involved or not. But here's the weird part. The FBI looked into these allegations and they declined to charge him. How is that any different from anyone else who is investigated for a crime and then no charges come and it's dropped? So why should the ethics committee be looking into a bunch of allegations that the FBI couldn't prove true in a court of law? And anybody who says, release the report, how is that any different than releasing Laura Owens' accusations against Clayton or Greg or Mike to the public? How is it any different than her doing that? If there are no charges brought, no criminal charges, but we are talking about criminal acts, which is what this is about, this should never have been going on in the first place. And I don't care if I'm not a real big fan of Matt Gaetz. I don't particularly, I think a lot of what he does is very showmanship, and I'm not sure how sincere he is. So I'm not a big fan of his. And if this were a Democrat, I'd be saying the same thing. If there are no criminal charges, then this shouldn't even be talked about, because that means that they're just allegations, and the allegations don't mean anything if it's not enough to be taken to court. So I think everybody should be very careful about saying that, he is or is this thing or not that thing, because there's no evidence that says he is or that he did. The evidence was whatever it is. It's not enough to go for criminal charges. So I don't know why we're even talking about it. All right, I have a real problem with Bill Gates. This is part of the problem that we are facing in this nation. And when we talk about what Americans want going forward, I think it's a lot less of this. It's a lot less of Bill Gates and his pushing his agenda on our country and our people and making us pay for it. He was very instrumental in the pandemic lockdowns. He was instrumental in all of this stuff. And the fact that he's making noise again, and this time it's about taking away our cows. Let's listen to this.
Yeah, so there's basically two ways to help with cows. Cows are about 5% of global emissions, which is pretty unbelievable.
Wild.
And if your goal is to get to zero, you don't get to skip the cows or the steel or the cement or, any of those big areas. So there's a whole class of solutions of making meat without cows. Today, it doesn't taste as good and it costs too much. It's going through a little bit of a lull, but those companies, Impossible Beyond, Memphis, and others are pursuing that. In terms of
do you know what's in an Impossible Burger?
All the things that the GMO people would die over.
It is so gross. First of all, it does taste really good. I have tried one in the restaurant where I was working. They were serving them, and I couldn't believe how they looked and how they looked like they bled. They have this bread stuff that comes out like a bloody burger. It's unbelievable. And for the first time I ever tried something that was not meat, it actually tasted good. Then you look at the ingredients. It is worse for you than anything at McDonald's. It is not healthy. It is disgusting. And all you need to do is go on YouTube and look up the video of how to make the Impossible Burger and what goes into it. You will gag. I will never touch another one, by the way, ever in my life. That thing is not better for you than just a regular beef burger. And by the way, Bill Gates is invested in these companies. He stands to make a ton of money if people switch from eating cows to eating this fake meat, because he's the one behind it.
Cows, we pursued many solutions. So one is to vaccinate the cows in a way that they're
Oh my God! Again with the jabbing everything. Why do we have to inject our meat with more chemicals?
gut bacteria that emit the methane, which is also called natural gas or CH4, which is
He's seriously talking about cow farts, guys. Just Bill Gates is fighting global warming by stopping cow farts. For real.
the second most important greenhouse gas. You can vaccinate them, and that species of bacteria isn't there. Their stomachs are very special because they can eat grass. It's a 3-stage.
Yeah, this is an interesting point you make here, Uncle Tom. What a prick. Just plant more trees. Yeah, it's not that difficult. If you want to offset the methane or whatever, plant more trees that are putting oxygen into the ozone. Like what the heck are we doing?
Removal. That's not methane removal.
Well, still, but isn't that what they're always complaining about? The CO2, the carbon footprint.
Right.
So,
but he's mostly talking about methane production from cow farts.
And who cares about methane production anyway? Like what the heck? I don't understand why we need to go after the cows. Have you seen cows? They're adorable. Leave them alone. In fact, what we should be doing is making sure that corporate farming and corporate farms that have cows are treating them well, because that's a big problem. I buy local because I don't like the way that the big industrial farms treat the animals. So it's true. There is a problem with cows, and the problem is how they are treated before they are slaughtered. And these places are disgusting, and that should stop. So that's a real problem. But like, seriously, we're gonna talk about methane and taking away cows. Wait till you hear the next idea.
A fermentation process, basically. There's another way you can change what they eat, and you could either put that in their water or their feed. There is a drug to change the microbiome, not a vaccine, but a drug. That looks very promising.
Oh, so more drugs. We're going to give more big pharma medications to the animals that we ingest so that we can be poisoned by the medication from big pharma. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't want anything in the cows. I don't want antibiotics given to them. I don't want all the nonsense given to them and things to fatten them up. And just let a cow be a cow. Let the cow eat grass. Let the cow have a nice life. And then one day there's no more life and we eat the burger. That's how it should be. I am so tired of this, injecting all of our food with poison. This guy needs to be told we don't want him to be Dr. Evil of the world. He needs to go and play in his fabulous mansions and leave us alone. Please leave us alone now, Bill Gates.
Promising. And then there's a solution where you stick a sort of a metal thing into the skin of the cow, and it actually burns the methane.
Is he kidding? He's going to stick a metal thing into cows to burn the methane? The cows are going to explode.
No, they're not.
What is he talking about? Yes, they are. They're going to explode. Are you telling me that that's not going to take a bunch of experimentation to get it right, and some cows aren't going to explode? Because I'm telling you, they will.
They don't hold that much methane. You've seen the stupid...
It's a catalytic converter.
But you've seen the videos of people putting lighters up to their butts. It's not like they explode.
Well, you don't know
it
how
gets a
much
little
methane
fiery,
is
but
coming out of a cow. According to these people, it's so absurdly high, this amount of methane, that I would be worried about exploding cows. We don't need any exploding cows. What we need is for Bill Gates to leave the cows and the squirrels and the raccoons alone. Hands off.
I'm fighting with this internally in my own political beliefs, because my libertarian leaning side is like, how much does the government get to regulate the food in this way? Now, if there's a reporting piece where it has to be labeled X, Y, and Z thing, then I consider that more palpable than mandating can or cannot have X, Y, and Z thing in. But a lot of people are talking about RFK, and I made this point. I said the funny thing about the people talking about RFK being suggested as the Health and Human Services Secretary is that he wants to implement most of the things that Europe has already done. in terms of
Right.
not putting.
That's the thing that makes me so angry is that Europe has already had these dye-free foods and chemical-free foods by our own companies. General Foods, Kellogg, all of these, Nestle, they are all making the same products that we have here, but they are taking the chemicals out for Europe because Europe doesn't allow it. But they continue to give us the poison. How sick is that? And our government officials have known about this for at least a decade, and they have done nothing to stop it. Nothing. I want clean food. I want no pesticides in my food. And frankly, I mean, Brad, if you want pesticides in your food, then grow your own and put pesticides on them. I don't understand why the general population must be subjected to pesticides and our wheat is soaked in glyphosate in order to dry it. Why? When the sun can do it just as well, maybe not as fast, but that's the way it needs to be done so that we're not poisoning ourselves with toxic sludge. You know, McDonald's used to have 3 ingredients in their fries: potato, salt, and beef tallow. That is the only thing that should be in there. They are now adding an adjuvant to the oil as a defoaming agent so that they can use the oil longer, so that they don't have to change it as often. That is outrageous. It needs to stop. We need to go back to just potatoes, salt, and beef tallow, period. That is the chemicals that are going, and McDonald's has to do that in Europe. They're already doing it there. They're not doing it here. Well, in Europe, they still use the seed oils, which is gross, and we should stop. But I would like to use beef tallow or some other kind of actual oil, like in, coconut oil or something like that. Not these sludge, toxic, drawn off, disgusting waste products that they can't feed. They tried to feed seed oil products to cows to fatten them up, and even the cows wouldn't eat them. So what did they do? They gave them to us to eat because we're stupid and we will eat these things. And they have sold us out. They've sold out our health. They've sold out our children, and it's disgusting. It needs to stop. So, yeah. Okay, so that's Bill Gates, and I've had enough of him, and I think we've all had enough of him, and I would like Bill Gates to just go quietly into the night. Please go quietly into the night. You've lost. Your points of view are not, people do not want them, and they don't want you. Okay. Jon Stewart is sometimes insufferable, but sometimes he's not insufferable at all, and he brings out very good information. So this is an interview that he is doing with a woman at the Pentagon. I don't know what her title is. Actually, maybe it's here. What is her title? She's a DOD defense official, and they have failed seven audits by the IRS or the government. Is the government doing it? Well, I guess IRS is the government. If you failed 7 audits, what would happen to you, Brad?
Terrible things.
Jail is what would happen to you if you failed 7 audits. I don't even think they would wait for number 7. You'd probably go to jail by like the 3rd. This is outrageous. We're going to listen to Jon Stewart just try to get a straight answer out of this woman about why the DOD can't pass their IRS audits. This is great.
To be doing, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these.
Please educate me on
sure.
What
so an audit is exactly what you just described,
yes.
Which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false, right?
God, she knows she's lying. Did you see that gigantic swallow? Did anybody else see that? Let's put that back. She swallows so hard you can hear it in the microwave. In the microwave. What am I saying? The microphone.
So an audit is exactly what you just
listen
described.
For the swallow.
Is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false, right?
Big swallow. Big swallow.
She's talking for a while there, so I'd give it a pass.
Still, I don't. She's lying. She's lying. It is indicative of waste, fraud, and abuse if you can't get through an audit. They don't know where the money went, Brad. That's what she's about to tell you.
I absolutely know that they don't know where the money went.
They don't know where the money went.
So what is
now
it
is a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where.
What? Wait. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. The Department of Defense of the United States of America doesn't have a list of inventory to show us where things went. And those things we're talking about, are they missiles and weapons and tanks and guns, ma'am? Is that what we're talking about? This list of things, these billions of dollars of things that you don't have a list for where it is? That is what she just said.
You know, the funny thing about that is there are many veterans and service members that have PTSD because they will not let something be placed into their hands without a receipt. Because if someone says I gave it to someone else and then say, well, no, I don't have it, then they have to pay for it. And so that, you know, that helmet or whatever that you take for someone is then it's like $1,500 or whatever. It's so ridiculous.
It's absurd. It's absurd. I mean, this is, how can they say they just don't know what they did with the stuff they spent billions of dollars on? I don't believe you, ma'am. You sit on a throne of lies.
If Flux is still here, Flux can tell you about how anal everyone is about getting a receipt for inventory. And
by the way, I would like to just point out that the Department of Defense spent $8,000 on a lobster tank. I wonder if she could tell us where that is. Ma'am, where's the lobster tank? In whose office is the lobster tank?
That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world.
Wait. John is trying to keep it together.
Yep.
He's really trying. He's like, okay, but in my world, the rest of us, we would go to jail. Ma'am, what are you talking about?
Because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
yeah,
that's waste.
How is that waste?
It's waste because you lost $8 billion worth of stuff, lady. You don't know where it is. You don't know where it is. And you can't account for the money we gave you to buy shit. You don't know where any of the shit is.
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to
Look at her
think?
laughing.
Yeah,
They
that's a
are
shit-eating grin right there.
laughing at you. They are laughing at you. They think that you're never going to catch on to what it is they're doing, buying $50,000 hammers and $150,000 toilets at the DOD. They think, and this is the problem. That's why they don't have an inventory list. Let's be honest. Because when they do inventory over at the DOD, we find out that they spent $20,000 on a hammer. And we say, where is this $20,000 hammer? Oh, well, we can't find it. We don't know. When really the $20,000 went into somebody's goddamn pocket and you know it. And that's why you don't want to have, that's why you can't pass your audit. Because you're stealing our money. You're not buying a $150,000 toilet. You're buying influence. That $150,000 is going to somebody for something, and it isn't a toilet. Good God.
And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to make.
I can tell.
And
I can tell with that shit-eating grin on her face and the constant laughing. She definitely has something to do with it. I'd fire her first.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for.
Yep.
And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and
Mm-hmm.
they
You
see,
want to talk about that? Because that's a good, we should be talking. I mean,
Well,
I'm
it's
trying to
all-
understand.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how our members of the military cannot get veterans benefits because they're broke. Apparently, the veterans affairs are broke, and our soldiers are having trouble buying groceries. Let's talk about that while you are spending $8,000 on a lobster tank, and while you are losing $1 billion worth of stuff, and you can't pass an audit. Let's absolutely talk about that.
Understand where you're trying to go, other than the dollars, which really bother you.
I think it.
Oh my God, this woman, other than the dollars, which really bother you.
That is the evilest looking face on that woman. My God.
My God. And like, sorry, but the elitist, she's like, who cares about $1 billion? It's just $1 billion. And this is money. It's really bothering you. What? I'm sorry. This is the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
And they see.
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good, we should be talking. I mean,
Well,
I'm
it's
trying to
all-
understand
is-
where you're trying to go, other than the dollars, which really
it's-
bother you.
I think it doesn't really bother me. I think it's all connected.
Okay.
I think
Tell
when
me,
I
tell
look.
me that story.
She is so condescending.
Yeah, she is.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me that story. God, I hate this woman. I wish I knew her name. I need this woman's name.
I think it's in the tweet.
Was it? I didn't see it, but I'll go back and look. Yeah, the dollars matter to us, lady, because they're our dollars. I think she's forgotten that these are our dollars, and the people of this country are hurting to buy groceries. We are struggling to buy beef. We have stopped eating beef in my house for the most part because it's too expensive. We are eating chicken. We are eating less meat because it's too expensive. We're eating more pasta, which is not good for us. And the thing is that when you say you only care about the money, those are my dollars, ma'am. Those are my dollars that could have gone to feed my children. Those are your dollars, Brad, that could have gone to feed your family. Or those are your dollars, chat, that could have gone to help you with your advanced education bills, let's say. But instead, they're just losing them over at the DOD, and it's just money. It's just money.
Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks.
Kathleen Hicks. Ugh. I don't like her.
Tell me how you're thinking
Well,
about that.
when I see a State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that, and I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services, and then that department that got that, I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps.
Yeah. Say it for the people in the back, Jon Stewart. Say it for the people. And by the way, when are they going to admit? When is a person like Jon Stewart going to admit that this fraud and abuse, this has happened because of the deep state bureaucracy that we have been talking about trying to get rid of forever? Like, can you please just get your head out of the Democrats' ass for a minute? I realize that they are the establishment, and that's why. So we're talking about Democrats who did this, but that doesn't mean that the other side wouldn't have done it either at some point. This is just the current bureaucracy happens to be put in place and was put in place by Democrats for many, many years. And we cannot get these people out of there. They're unelected. They're hired to do these jobs and to hide money and to pay off politicians and God knows what else. God knows what else. And I wish that people like Jon Stewart would come to his senses and be like, okay, one party has been in charge of this for way too long. We have got to shake this shit up. And that means we have to get rid of these bureaucrats. Like
to me, that's fucking corruption. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
it is.
And if that blows your mind, and if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking, and that it's not looking at the day-to-day reality of the people that you call the greatest fighting force in the world. So I get back to this idea of like, I'm not looking to pick a fight with you, but I am surprised at that the reaction to these questions are, you don't know what an audit is, bucko. Like, that's just weird to me.
Okay.
It is weird. And I don't know. I didn't see the rest of it. I just saw the clip on Twitter. So I don't know if it got any better. I have a feeling that it didn't. But we're doing a variety show today. It's a Monday morning melee. And we're whipping through all of the things. So by the way, if you like more of my political stuff and you would like to see more of it, you should go to Twitter at Megan Fox Writer, because that's mainly where I put my political stuff. And we're kind of going over that today. I did very much enjoy. Oh, I can't play that because it's got a copyright song on it.
That was actually from 2023. Interesting.
What was from 2023?
That interview.
Oh, was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to find the full thing. I thought it was recent. From 2023, huh? Interesting. All right, I've got this. So if anybody wondered if the Democrats were going to do some soul searching and find out, really talk to people on the other side, find out why they lost, I have bad news. They will be doing no such thing. They will be doubling down. And I, for one, am all for it. Let's hear it for the Democrats, who are going to double down on all the mistakes they made leading up to this election. And we may keep winning for 100 years after this. Let's hear what Jen Psaki has to say.
There's obviously a lot of soul searching right now going on within the Democratic Party, and that's a good thing.
Is there, though? Is there, though? Let's find out.
But what I worry about is that in the course of all that soul searching, some Democrats might reach the wrong sweeping conclusions. And there are a lot of issues that fall into that bucket.
That's a really big for her to come out and be like, well, they're going to come up with the wrong conclusions. Okay, well, who's making the decision? You're the ultimate arbiter of what was good,
yes,
bad.
They can only soul search the collective soul. They don't have individual souls. It's a collective soul.
She's a redhead.
That means that they have to all be in agreement about the outcome of the soul searching. It has to be within the party line. Must toe the party line. They're not allowed to have differing opinions.
Particular that stuck out to me is transgender rights. Republicans spent hundreds of millions of dollars on anti-trans ads this election cycle, including one that showed Vice President Harris talking about government funding for gender reaffirming care for prisoners and detainees. If that sounds like a particularly obscure issue, it is, because it applies to a tiny group of people.
So it is happening.
Yeah.
So in other words, it is happening, but you shouldn't care about it because it's so few people that we are paying our money for people who came here illegally so that they can get sex changes.
There's a meme that's got a circle and it says it's
not happening.
It's not happening. I gotta find it.
It is happening, but it's very rare. And then it is happening, but it's good. And it goes all the way. It's just circle back, girl here. This is incredible to me. So for one, she admits that this ridiculous policy is happening where illegals are being given federal funds for sex change operations. Again, we're out here basically almost starving. Like there are people who are literally cannot buy food. Food pantries are at an all-time high, record high of people coming there to get food. And this is what our government is spending our money on. We might as well be talking about the lobster tanks again. This is like giving this would be like giving plastic surgery to girls who think their noses are too big and the federal government paying for it. This is elective surgery, folks. It is elective. It would be like, why can't the government fund my tummy tuck? I really want one. I think I've had 3 babies. They stretched out my belly. I would like to have it back to normal. I want my mommy makeover, and I think I'm entitled to it. And I think that the federal government, if they're going to pay for these people to get this, then they ought to pay for my mommy makeover. That will make America great again. I will look super hot. But no, I don't get that consideration. Yeah, I don't get that consideration, but the people who aren't even citizens, they do. They get to have, come on now. This is what they're going to double down on. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a small number of people.
And it's also a policy that, by the way, was in place during the first Trump presidency.
Well, that's probably because he didn't know it was there, because there are so many terrible policies. There's books and reams and reams and reams of policies that should never have been policies in the first place that need to be completely written out of every rule book there is. But is he supposed to know about every single policy? Believe me, if he had known about it, he would have done it. He would have gotten rid of it.
Sounds like a good case for the Department of Government Efficiency.
Yes, that's why we need a Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, in other words.
One of the lines that ran over and over
to the moon,
over again in those ads and throughout right-wing media is this idea that America is faced with a crisis of boys.
Right. Look at the very pictures that she is using. Okay, Jen, conservatives did not hire these people. Joe Biden did. These two people that you see here, the guy that stole Louis Vuitton bags in the red dress, that guy who's a kleptomaniac, he was hired to be in charge of things. And he also was on Instagram, like leading someone around on a leash and stuff. Very strange dude. That guy who was arrested twice for stealing stuff was hired by Joe Biden to be in charge of some kind of nuclear secrets or whatever. And that guy behind him was hired to be our health secretary. Like, this is something that Joe Biden did. So if she wants to go out and say, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it's not affecting anybody. Hello, we were just forced to pretend that this was normal. And it's not. And I'm sorry, but no.
Is faced with a crisis of boys playing in girls' sports. Now, these ads created this perception that the issues of trans kids playing sports was dominating schools across the country.
Nope, that is not what it did. And no one thinks that. No one thought that at all. What we do find, though, is that it is, and I've been hearing this from people who are, who agree with me on this issue, but then are like, but it's really not that big of an issue because it affects so few people. It only affects few people until you sit back and do nothing about it when it's affecting the few people. But if you stand up and say, oh no, this is a line you will not cross, it stops before it gets started. And there are women out there and girls who have been affected by this. Riley Gaines is one of them. And what about all those women who lost to Leah Thomas. I knew that was wrong. What about all those women who lost to Leah Thomas? What about the girls' races? We reported on that at PJ Media. Here it is. It's not happening. It's a right-wing conspiracy theory. It might be happening. It is happening, and it's good. Yes, that's exactly what she's talking about here. I mean, it's like, well, it's not that big of a deal. It is happening, but it's not. It's a small population. So, it's not that big of a deal. If one girl, and we know there have been multiple girls who have been disenfranchised by these policies, if even one girl or woman was disenfranchised, that's too many. That's my argument. It's too many. And so we have to stop this, and the country just voted to stop it. But they're going to double down on this idiocy of putting men in women's sports. And I don't care if you live in a dress. I don't care if you put makeup on. I don't care what you do. You still have XY chromosomes. You still have testosterone. You still have advantages. My daughter, the assignment that she's doing, the studies that she found some great stuff. And it shows, what she found shows that, that there are still advantages, even after hormone therapy, that males retain 10 to 14% of the testosterone advantage and the muscle advantage over women. It is not fair. It is not fair, and it needs to stop.
Which is completely false. Some people got pulled into that argument. I mean, immediately after the election, Congressman Seth Moulton told the New York Times that, quote, Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend anyone rather than being brutally honest about the challenges many Americans face. I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. And then last weekend, Congressman Moulton came on this network to discuss those comments.
I was just speaking authentically as a dad about one of.
Oh, so he goes and says what everyone in America is thinking. And he's got to now make the rounds and apologize for what he said. See how there's no individual thought. No individual thought on the left. And it's really unfortunate. If you don't toe that line, you will look at him. They're making him go on TV now and talk about why he said what he said, which is completely common sense. As a father, as a parent, as a mother, I don't want to see my daughter mowed down on a field by a kid who's a boy in her sport.
Many issues where I think we're just out of touch with the majority of voters. And I stand by my position. Maybe I didn't get all the words exactly right. But the point is that the backlash I've received proves my point that we can't even have these discussions as a party.
Look, reflection is good. But if that were actually an issue at thousands of schools across the country, it would be worthy of a debate. But there are just incredibly few examples of transgender.
And let's make them zero. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the examples
if
zero
there's so
again.
few, it'd be really easy to stop.
That's right. It'll be really easy to stop because this is not a real problem.
It's the argument. Like they say, well, illegal immigration is so bad. And then they're like, well, there's 10 million people here. What do you want us to do about it? But we can, if you're, the IRS has to get reporting on any transaction on Venmo, PayPal, or otherwise over $600, or else they're going to rake you over the coals with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that they're getting every penny out of you. But God forbid, we can't do anything about this. What do you want us to do? They're so easy to throw their hands up about things, but then they have no problem at all doing everything they can to persecute you.
Yeah, it's incredible. And by the way, the DOD lost billions of dollars, but your $600 at Venmo, believe me, if you got $600 through Venmo, the IRS is going to find it. But they can't find the billions at the DOD, folks. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. They cannot find the billions that the DOD lost. All right. Speaking of that same issue, there is, oh God, I hope I retweeted this. It was Bill Maher, and no, I guess I didn't, but I gotta find it because Bill Maher is addressing this very scenario. He's talking about this very thing with this guy who, is getting raked over the coals for saying what everybody thinks. Here it is. I got it. Okay. Let's pull this up. All right. This is so good.
Why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched. The New York Times called it racist. Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children who are retarded.
Oh, God forbid. He said the R word.
He did. He said the R word. And I by the way, Bill Maher is one of my favorite comedians. I think he's the type of person who, he has his beliefs, which are mostly on the left, but he can see, the forest for the trees. He can see where the mistakes are, and he's not afraid to say it. He's not afraid. He's like your old school kind of Democrat, which you don't
liberal.
Yeah, you don't see anymore. You just don't see him anymore. The classical liberals have come over to our side at this point because we're pro free speech and because we don't do this kind of garbage. And the hard left has really become very anti free speech, very authoritarian, and he calls it out.
And the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual incest. Maybe take the clothespin off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with. What good is liberalism if you don't win elections? Last week.
Yeah, that's a very good question. They need to start asking why they're losing all the time. And here's the the talk about the congressman we were just looking at.
Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton said, I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. Yes, there's the problem in a nutshell. Because Congressman Moulton sounds reasonable to me, but his campaign manager immediately resigned in protest.
Wait. So the problem just kind of solves itself, doesn't it? So if all if Democrats who are normal come out and say, you know what, I don't want this stuff either, and then there are people who are pushing this, they all resign, problem solved.
Right.
You know?
Let me make this as plain as I can to the smart people. The campaign manager who resigned, yeah, let that person go.
Yep.
Marginalize that guy.
Marginalize that guy, because that guy doesn't understand the American people. That guy is the one who's losing elections for you. You need to marginalize those crazy people, because they're crazy. They're out of their minds. No parent of a daughter wants to watch her get hurt on a playing field because there's a boy on the opposite team. Like this is absurd. And this is not going to stand. It just isn't. And it's over now. And I wish that, look, Bill is one of these people who he's going to tell them what to do and show them the error of their ways. And they're not going to do any of it. They're going to double down.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to double down because that's what they do. And it's, it's good for me. I'm fine with that. If Democrats want to keep shooting themselves in the foot, I am happy to watch them continue doing it. But I do have to ask, why? What do they gain from this? What is gained from continuing down this far left slide? And by the way, there's a chart that's been going around. I don't think I retweeted it either, but it shows how far the left has gone leftward, while the center and the right have remained in about the same spot. And so whenever they're talking about the far right wing or the extreme right wing,
Overton window theory.
Yeah, it doesn't. We aren't extreme. You went extreme. You went way down the path, and now we're all over here like, what are you talking about?
I think my Overton window book is upstairs because my wife. Because I learned about the Overton window theory from Glenn Beck when he was at Fox News 10, 12 years ago. And it's a really fascinating look about how shifting political ideas, you start at one point, you say the left and right are here, and then you say, well, let's meet across the aisle, and then it shifts ever so slightly to one way, and then after hundreds of years of shifting, it is now moved so far that it's almost unrecognizable from where it originally was.
Yep, and it's a real problem. All right, the last thing that I want to show you today is the thing that's really got me going. I know I told a bunch of you I wasn't going to vote in this election this year. I might not vote. And if I did vote, I was voting for RFK Jr. because I thought he would still be on the ballot here in New York. It turns out he wasn't. So, of course, I voted for Trump. And then Trump did what he didn't do last time, and he actually put RFK in a position of power. He's our new Health and Human Services Secretary, and he has put out this video. Now, I don't care if nothing else is accomplished in the next 4 years, I want this fixed. This is the thing that I want fixed, and I want you guys to watch this and tell me that this isn't the most important thing for our kids, for ourselves, for our families, for all Americans. This is an issue that we should be upset about, that we should be in the streets protesting. We should be demanding that our companies treat us in the same way they treat Europeans. Why are they feeding Americans garbage? Why are they feeding us known poisons? Why are they continuing to do this when we are the sickest nation on earth, the sickest, the fattest, the most autism, the most everything, and we're soaking ourselves in chemicals. I cannot tell you how much this makes me angry.
This is what most Americans innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies of their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. And it wasn't always that way until the early 1990s. Our life expectancy was the same or better than other developed countries. Then suddenly, more and more Americans began suffering from chronic diseases, from obesity, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, heart disease, and all kinds of autoimmune diseases. Our maternal mortality rate soared to the highest of any developed country on earth. Same with infant mortality. Like the frog in the slowly boiling water, we didn't really notice as we got sicker and sicker. We've grown now to accept chronic disease conditions as normal. But now in 2024, we're finally waking up to this cataclysm and we're asking ourselves, how in the world did this happen? A big part of it is our diet. Restaurants that serve contaminated food are fined or shut down. But when it's the government that approves the poisons in our food, a few people get very, very rich and the toxins end up in every supermarket aisle. Let me show you what I mean. Doritos, Cheez-Its, Captain Crunch, gummy bears.
All right, this part is going to make you so angry. And I've known this for a really long time. And we have spent so much money, my husband and I, keeping dyes away from our children. When our children were very little, I started seeing that every time they had something red in color, that they would have meltdowns, epic tantrums, like almost instantly. Almost instantly, they would have these epic meltdown tantrums. I took red dye and all dyes out of their food, out of their diet, and it stopped. But unfortunately, you can't avoid these things all the time. And if you want to buy all dye-free food, we were even ordering dye-free candy canes at one point, and we still do for Christmas, but they're expensive as hell. Dye-free candy for Halloween, dye-free suckers. Like, we only let our kids have chocolate, and like, we are so on top of this, but you have to have the ability to spend money in order to find the things that are made with no dyes. And they're always like the organic brands, and they're twice the price. This should not be the case. And what he's about to show you here, if you don't know this, please pay attention and hear it.
Everyone knows that these are junk foods, so maybe you wouldn't be too surprised to see that the ingredients include a lot of poisons, including a harmful yellow dye called tartrazine, or yellow dye number 5. What you may not know is that this dye was originally made out of the sludge that's left over when you turn coal into coke for blast furnaces. It's called coal tar, and I've actually sued many big industries for legacy contamination of coal tar all around the country because it's so toxic and it's so harmful to the environment and human beings. A century ago, it was just an obnoxious industrial byproduct that everybody was trying to figure out ways to get rid of. One of the ways that they did that was by paving roads.
And then they decided to feed it to us and our kids.
And a British chemist figured out that the coal tar could be used to derive fabric dye. And if fabric dye, why not food? Food manufacturers began using it to cover up the discoloration of low-quality foods that they wanted to pass off on unsuspecting customers. They didn't know back then that this yellow dye, tartrazine, causes tumors, asthma, developmental delays, neurological damage, ADD, ADHD, hormone disruption, gene damage, anxiety, depression.
So you want to know why the kids of America have such an ADD, anxiety, and depression problem? Look no further than the food. And I challenge you to go to the next time you're at the grocery store, you look at the ingredients on every box you pick up and see if you can even find one without yellow dye number 5 and red dye and blue 1 and all of that shit. See if you can find stuff that isn't in the Whole Foods aisle, that isn't in the organic aisle, that doesn't have this garbage in it. And wait, it gets worse.
Intestinal injuries. Well, we know it now. We've known this for decades. That's why tartrazine is heavily restricted in other countries. In some countries, foods with tartrazine have a warning label that it may cause ADHD in children. Today, it's made from petroleum, not coal tar. Either way, it's crazy to add this to your kids' favorite foods. It doesn't even change the flavor. This yellow dye isn't just in junk food. It's in the foods that we consider healthy. It's in everyday kids' snacks like popcorn, mac and cheese, fruit snacks. It's in sports drinks like Gatorade and so-called vitamin water. It's even added to chicken broth, to corn, to pickles, to mustard, and to yogurt. And so, of course, our kids get sick. And we lovingly feed them chewable vitamins, which have, surprise, tartrazine. And so
Do you understand now? They're doubling up the poisons and everything. It's not just, oh, well, I don't eat that. I don't eat that Cheez-Its or whatever. Well, do you take cough medicine? Do you give your kids chewable vitamins? Because that shit has it in it too. And that's another thing. We've had to special order Benadryl with no dye, any kind of children's medicines with no dye. They're putting food dye in medicine. Poison in medicine.
Continues until the coughs and asthma kick in, at which point you go to pick up some cough syrup. And yeah, you guessed it, tartrazine. I've been picking on tartrazine today, but that's just one of at least 100 chemical poisons that our health agencies allow into our children's food. I can make a video just like this to talk about Red 40, BHA, BHD, potassium bromate, chemical after chemical, and on and on and on. If just one of them can cause all of these problems, imagine what they're doing in combination. That has never been studied. If we took all of these chemicals out, our nation would get healthier immediately. We'd have fewer sick days. We'd have better focus. We'd have less anxiety. Our kids would learn more easily. We'd lose weight. We'd have more energy. We'd have fewer tumors and longer lives. It's not all dark. Over the past 16 years, the government has banned 8 chemical additives that cause cancer, genetic damage, asthma, and many of the other health conditions as tartrazine does. And you know what's interesting? All 8 of those crucial steps forward in our kids' health were taken under President Trump. But the Democrats who claim to be all about healthcare have stood by watching other countries ban these poisons and make our kids sick, asthmatic, hyperactive, and depressed. They left them on every supermarket shelf in America. They even used your tax money to put them in your kids' school lunch. So their big food and their big ag donors probably gave them all that golden handshake and the big money hug. And their big pharma donors probably called them up and thanked them also, because now they're going to make billions selling Adderall, Prozac, and rescue inhalers. Enough is enough. President Trump and I are going to stop the mass poisoning of American children. Together, we're going to make America healthy again.
Thank God. Thank God. I mean, I've had enough. You guys don't know. I don't talk about it all that much, of how much I have struggled in my own family to keep these dyes and poisons away from our children. My children are heavily affected by it. We all have ADD. We all have anxiety. It is off the charts. I have to tell you, look at the candy aisle. There is no reason for this stuff to be the colors that they are. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Red cake dye icing makes me sick just looking at it. And I'm sorry, but our children do not need to be told that foods come in blue. They don't need blue food. They don't need bright red food. You can use beet juice to color things pink and red, and you can use carrot powder to color things orange. You can use sweet potato to color things. You do not need to use these disgusting chemical dyes. And also, I want to see corn syrup a thing of the past. I want to see cane sugar make a comeback. And I'm so sick of this. We have got to get rid of this. And how are we not being treated the same way that people in Europe are being treated? How are our companies, Kellogg, Nestle, etc., making these things without these poisons for other people, but not us? You have to actually. It can't be a money-saving thing, because they've had to retool factories in order to make it for Europe. So they chose not to do it here. They chose that.
The interesting thing for me is, have you seen the New York Times fact check on this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do you have that to bring up? Because I retweeted it. Oh, no, I retweeted it. It's on my Twitter feed. Hold on.
But I got into I've got a friend of mine who's on the other side of the aisle, and I sent it to him, and I said, this is what a fact check is. And he's like completely falling in line for it. And I'm like, dude, you're not even recognizing what it says. It says there's more artificial products in American Fruit Loops than in Canadian version. He goes, but they have the same ingredients. It's like, no, that's not what the point is. The point is
it's
the artificial.
It's actually not the same ingredients at all. Look at this.
No,
spitting out my
27
coffee.
versus 27, not.
What?
So in the American Fruit Loops, there's 27 ingredients. In the Canadian
Mm-hmm.
one, there's 27 ingredients, but the ingredients are different
They're
because
different.
you have the red dye 40, yellow 5, and blue
Right.
1, and
Look
the
at-
other one has the powders and all that
Yeah.
other stuff.
Brad Cohen says, spitting out my coffee after reading this New York Times fact check of RFK Jr. Mr. Kennedy has singled out Fruit Loops as an example of a product with too many artificial ingredients, questioning why the Canadian version has fewer than the US version. But he was wrong. The ingredient list is roughly the same, although Canada's has natural colorings made from blueberries and carrots, while the US product contains red dye 40, yellow 5, and blue 1, as well as butylated hydroxytoluene or BHT, a lab-made chemical that is used for freshness, according to the ingredient label. You guys, you don't hate the New York Times enough. You don't hate them enough. His very point was that the ingredients that are listed here are poisons, and in Canada, that's not allowed, as you can see. It is not allowed. And so they call this a fact check, but it's not a fact check because they're literally lying. They're lying to you. They're just lying to you, and it's sick. Also, there was this video. Wait, where did it go? Oh, here, this one.
They have shown all over the world on debate.
Does anybody know where this video came from, by the way? Because I would like to see the entire thing. Jillian Michaels was there. It looks like it was a panel on health, and this is fantastic.
On debate. But with artificial food dyes, they have shown all over the world that they can use colorants that come from fruit.
This is the Canadian version.
This is the brightness of the Canadian version, just for visibility. And this is the brightness of artificial food dyes. So, of course, Kellogg and other food companies will argue children prefer this over this, just as they would prefer cocaine over sugar. That doesn't make it okay.
But
Right.
I think
That doesn't make it okay.
That's debate.
Nope.
But with artificial,
It does not make it okay. Also, for those of you who might still be skeptical, like why on earth would we be being poisoned in our own country? I don't know, but check this
I'm
out.
getting groceries on a little trip that we're taking to Europe here. This is the color of Fanta in Europe. Look at this color now. Anybody who drinks Fanta in the United States knows that it's about as orange as, actually, it's about as orange as this, pretty much. And that's the actual texture of the liquid. You know why it's like this? Because they can't use orange color. They can't use red color. They can't use all the dyes because they're chemicals. This is made with 100% orange juice. Isn't that something? No chemicals. And that's why you can drink this like all day and night and you don't gain weight. You gotta love it. So the food in America is poison. Everybody who loves to hate on that phrase, it's true.
How come everybody knows this except us?
I sent it to you. It's Senator Ron Johnson's American Health and Nutrition, a Second Opinion panel. It was 4 hours long.
Oh, wonderful. I want to see that. Thank you for sending that. That's a Rumble link. Cool.
Mhm.
Okay. I want to watch the whole thing because I thought it was fascinating. And also this is my main issue. This is my main issue that I voted on in this election. It is how poisoned our food is, how sick we are as a country, how full of anxiety and depression the children are. And it starts with the food. And it is not that difficult. It is not that difficult to make them remove this stuff from our food. They are doing it anyway for Europe, and they should have to start doing it immediately for us as well. Guys, next time you go to the grocery store, if you've never really paid attention to this stuff, make sure you look at the labels. Look at the labels on things and try to buy your beef local. Try to buy your meat from local farmers, local butchers, because it's true that the big industries are really bad for animals and they're really bad. And I'm glad that we are starting to have this conversation as a country. This is my major issue. This is the one thing that I was going to crawl over broken glass to vote for. It was making Americans healthy again. I've had enough of this. I've had enough of it, and I'm done. And anybody who can watch those videos and go, no, it's fine that we have all that shit in our food, they're not being honest. What person out there, especially on the left, people who claim to be for environmental cleanliness and clean air and clean water, how can they be for poison food? How can they be for an FDA that turns its back turns its head and doesn't see or acknowledge the poisons that are going in our food by big cereal and big food and all this nastiness that's happening. It's not difficult, and it's got to stop. All right. I think that's it for me today. I've got to run before the kids get home. And thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I do have some super chats to get to, so I'm going to get to those right now. Tammy Fayette became a new member. Welcome to the Fox Den, Tammy. It's weird in here, but you'll get used to it. Heather May says, I'm enjoying Megan covering all sorts of issues this morning. Found her first over What the Hales case, but sticking around for the rest. Well, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to do a variety of things today because I just feel like I don't want to get stuck on the same thing all the time. Darlene Wesley, he is a gross person. I think you were talking about at the time Matt Gaetz. That's why I starred that. And you may think that, and maybe he is, but if there isn't evidence to lock him up, then we shouldn't be doing this. Yes, I have an interruption.
Yeah, I know Dave Neal was talking about Matt Gaetz on his podcast this morning. Basically, he was remarking about how people who are championing abortions are the ones most likely to not need it, or are so unappealable or unlikable, or their appearance is so trash.
Because he made a joke.
Yeah.
Because the same joke that's been going around the internet for a really long time. That's why. I mean, but I also think, he might be someone you don't like, or you don't appreciate his, his points of view. But if there aren't criminal charges to charge him, then this needs to all not be a thing, period. Mama Cat, thanks for the 10 tinfoil hat time. But I think the hormones already in the cows and GMO crops are already wreaking havoc with our health. And he wants to do more. Yikes. Exactly.
Bill Gates, not RFK.
Yeah, Bill Gates, not RFK. You're right. Rogue Mama, thanks for the 2. It should cost more to eat. It shouldn't cost more to eat healthy. That's right. It shouldn't. Ellie Fan, thanks for the 2. So much lobster hate. I like lobsters, but I don't want the government buying lobsters with my money for their DOD lobster tank. Ellie Fan, thanks for the 2. Put the Fed on the Dave Ramsey plan. That's a great idea. We should absolutely do that. Tammy Fayette, thanks for the 2. Variety show should also have singing and dancing. Well, it's funny you should say that. I was going to close out with one more clip of singing and dancing. Ellie Fan, thanks for the 2. She's just circling back to that. True. Ellie Fan, thanks for the 2. Circling. OMG, Mondays suck. Well, I read it correctly. SF, thanks for the 5. 5% methane from cows is too much, but the small percentage of trans women in women's sports isn't a big enough deal for stopping it before it's a bigger issue. Right. That's what they are telling us. Unhung Hero, thanks for the 2. Time to buy a few acres, get some chickens and cows. I have chickens. They're very expensive. Ellie Fan, thanks for the 2. Roundup is Agent Orange. Yep. Roundup is bad for you. All right. So the last little video is one of my favorite new creators on that I found on X. And he's so freaking
I know who this is.
Stephen Hilton. Is it Stephen Hilton?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that is who it is.
He went viral, and now he's just taking it to the next level.
Oh, he's killing it. He's killing it. He was the one that I can't play the first one because it's a copyrighted song, but he is also doing his own music, which I'm assuming he won't strike me for or anything for playing this a small portion of it. But he had a great idea for the people who have a problem with the election results. He had a terrific idea. His idea is, why don't they just identify as winners? Why doesn't the Democrat Party, who's upset at losing, why don't they just identify that they didn't lose and that they won? They won. I'm having trouble finding it. Where the heck did it go? It's so fun. Has he done so many of these that they're
He's done
already
quite a few of them?
Wait, is this it? This might be it. No, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yes. He says, thank God for identity politics. You guys can make anything a reality just by saying it, right? So let's play Stephen Hilton's newest song.
You can identify that you won the election. You can identify as a Trump supporter because you now really love him. Identify that you're nice and not horrible at all. Identify that you're not the type of person that would leave the most breathtakingly horrible comments on earth. Your pronouns can be pleasant, nice person. You can use manifestation.
You can use manifestation. Your pronouns can be pleasant, nice person.
You can
No, you can't have him, England. You cannot have him. He's ours now. We will not give him back. We have made him, if he's not an American, he is now an honorary American. We will not give him back. I will not give up Stephen Hilton. You cannot make me. No. Stephen Hilton, that's his name. Stephen with a PH. He is so freaking hilarious. If you are not following him, he made his debut on my Gen X article. And you need to look at that and read it and watch his video because it is so freaking funny. He's like a DJ or something, and he's been taking the videos of people crying and turning them into songs. It's so funny. He's so funny. I love him. I love him. All right. So what were we going to do at the end of this? One more super chat.
Minor perjury.
Ellie Fan, yeah, I think so. I think we're gonna have to go with minor perjury. Ellie Fan, thanks for the 5. RFK Jr. panel. For the people who can't go on Rumble, there's a YouTube link. It is in the chat. Thank you for posting that. I appreciate you, Ellie. And to all the mods, thank you for keeping the peace in here. I appreciate you. I am going to, what am I gonna do? I am gonna go try and find minor perjury, and that is what we will leave you with. And go and be good to people. Make sure you check your labels at the grocery store. Don't eat any more poison if you don't have to. That's my advice. Don't eat poison.
Drink your water, not pop.
Yeah, drink water. Just put a picture of RFK scowling at you on the refrigerator.
I've seen people do it.
Yeah, and every time you go to grab a Diet Coke or something, just be like, oh, all right, Rob. All right, Bobby. I'm going to get the water instead. Because we do want to be healthier, don't we? All right, looks like I don't have it uploaded to StreamYard. That's the problem. So I'll have to get it off my computer, which I'm sure it's in here. So just hold, please. Where's my hold music? There it is. All right, folks. That's all for us today. I appreciate you. Brad, thanks for being here.
Speaking of being healthy, walking stream in 40 minutes.
Oh, excellent. Join Brad for your daily walk at ITGoatee, Brad's YouTube channel. Mods, please do the thing and put it in the chat. All right, guys. We'll see ya.
Or to tell the truth, oh yes, I did. I raised my hand and nodded my head. Nothing but the truth, so help me God. I swore on the Bible, and Gingras gave me the nod. Then I spun a tale so wild, no one could believe. Fake scans only Adobe could achieve. Story keeps changing, sonograms rearranging, and judges ain't paying attention to anything. What do you mean it's a felony? It's just a little minor perjury. When your twins disappear, it's not an emergency. It's just a little minor perjury. It's just a little minor perjury. It's just a little minor perjury. Oh, oh, napkin lady is a cog in my wheel. Her notemaid got me a TEDx spiel. Now my lies are repeated everywhere. Doing interviews with lead press on head. How did she hear us through all that noise? Why do you ask? Everybody knows it's the bad boys. They're the ones at fault. It's not me. I just committed a little minor perjury. Why didn't you just take me? Instead you made me commit minor perjury. Why devastate me. Instead, you made me commit. Why are you coming at me? It's only a little minor perjury. Oh yeah, I'm not going to jail. There's never gonna be no bail. The system ignores liars like me. It's only a little minor perjury. 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 The system ignores liars like me. It's only a little minor perjury. It's only a little minor perjury. Oh, I'm not going to jail. There's never gonna be no bail. This system ignores liars like me. It's only a little minor perjury. It's only a little minor perjury.